Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Children of Primus, the Freestyle, Frenzy Freestyle Sundays from childrenofprimus.com. It is another Sunday evening, and this week our topic will be just chilling out with Sunday and chat about any topic, as a few members are kind of scattered all over the place. Sundays are sometimes work, sometimes it doesn't work, but that's just how Sundays are. So as soon as members join in, they will be getting into the weekly news and reviews from the world of Transformers, and again this week we're just going to be talking about anything and everything. So any topics you want to jump on, add them in the chat section, in the comments section, anything, the ideas, comments, anything you've seen in the different forums, in the different groups, and also any news that you've seen. I know HasLabs has put out some recent news, but I know I've been very busy with work for this week. So the topic that we wanted to speak on is going to possibly be next week or the week after, considering that next week is Halloween. So we have to figure out a plan around that, as some of our members may be missing for the Halloween show. But as usual, we will be here, so we'll figure out some ideas. I want to send a shout out to all the different people who've liked and commented on our Facebook page. I know we're over 1,200 members now, and most of that was accumulated from during the pandemic of last year and parts of this year. Everyone just staying home and grouping together, sharing images, and just having a good time within the groups. So we do want to thank everyone that's been coming to our page. Thank everyone that's been watching our shows. There we go, Mr.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing all right. I'm full of bread pudding and ready to go.
Perfect.
It's just a weirdly specific detail.
Yes.
I have did not get PulseCon Ravage, but I have a Kingdom Rhinox here that I'll probably open up and noodle with as I go.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Because let me tell you about PulseCon Ravage. That's the Beast Wars version of Ravage, and you can order him off Hasbro Pulse, and he went up the same day as the big convention, which was on Friday.
Okay.
And EB Games is supposed to be also selling him here in Canada. And he was street dated so that they weren't allowed to sell him until yesterday.
Okay.
He's not on their website. No luck finding him yet. I got an American one on order. We'll see what happens first. That ships, or I find a fresh, locally sourced Ravage.
Yes. I mean, that's I still find that insanely crazy in terms of the street date of items, and and either it being unavailable, just almost out of stock before it's even before people can buy it, or it's sitting there and no one's allowed to buy it.
Yeah, it seems like that's what happened. See, the full story is apparently people at the beginning of the month or even earlier put it on sale at EB Games, and then it got yanked off the shelves because somebody reinforced the street date, which in this case was because it's supposed to be an exclusive to that online convention, right?
Right.
So then people at the 80s Toy Expo there were selling it for like double retail price because they'd gotten a couple of them like before they yanked them off the shelves.
Okay.
So I'm like, there's tiers to this. There's the ones that were resold, which I do not want to get because they cost way too much money. Mm-hmm. There's American one off Hasbro Pulse, got it on pre-order. Would rather not get that one because I got to pay shipping and exchange. Right. And then there's off the shelves of an EB Games, which, here's hoping.
Yes. Which I mean, does it get to the point of calling whichever location, finding out what they have in stock, lining up before the doors open just to be sure you actually get it?
Yeah, I mean, this is why I shop online mostly.
Right.
But in this case, it's just like not on their website. So
Wow, that
this
is
is
interesting.
yeah, this is the firstest of first world problems. So you're not going to catch me grousing too hard.
Right.
Yeah, but the big thing obviously was all the stuff that came out those 2 days of PulseCon, which I didn't watch the whole thing because let me tell you, it was some real like phony PR stuff.
Oh, okay.
When they're just like, "That's right, this is cool. Let's talk about it overly
Oh,
enthusiastically." It was that
okay.
for like 2 days.
Yeah, you can't, like, there's only so much, only so many minutes of that you can take, much less
Yeah,
like however many hours that was happening.
yeah. You know what the weirdest thing is? Because it was like a bunch of panels they'd go to, and it was people affiliated with each brand, but they had two main presenters, a girl and a guy. And
Okay.
the guy was an actor. Did you ever see Holes? It was the movie with baby Shia LaBeouf in it.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's a real good. It still holds up. I watched it like last year. He
Okay.
gets sent out to the desert to like dig holes in like a prison camp and meets a bunch of kids. Yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
he had a best friend in that movie, a character named Zero, and I just realized, oh my god, that's the actor that played him doing the other half of this show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how was he? How was he within the? How was he? I guess his delivery and everything within for Hasbro.
Uh, Doing the best he could with the material he was given. That's what I'll go with.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Well, what about the girl?
Uh, we'd seen her before because she'd been on some of the like Fan First Friday streams. Uh,
Okay.
she has a faintly intense look to her eyes, and the people I was watching it with on Discord were joking that she always kind of looks like somebody's holding a gun to her head off camera.
I could see that because I think the first time I saw it, I'm like, it's it either sounded badly scripted or it's when someone's kind of force selling something on you that it doesn't sound it just doesn't sound genuine.
Yeah, man, I was definitely watching the stream, and I'm like, just show me the JPEGs. Okay. To their credit, though, they didn't just show you the JPEGs. They had like physical samples of new things there for them to like pop up on camera and physically handle, and I always appreciate that.
Okay, cool.
I should we should get those images up eventually.
Yes, this is true. I know you would have a greater detailed explanation behind all of these.
Oh yeah, I probably would. I bet I can find them. Uh,
Cool.
uh, I only just sat down, so that's why I'm so unprofessionally unprepared.
It just seems to work out that way on Sundays. Like, I think I could have been ready at least 3-4 hours earlier, but then just however the day worked out, like I'm
Yeah,
still ready 30 minutes before. But at least we're still able to get up and running.
yeah. All right. Well, you know, TFW always has a is always pretty good about news. So they just have a nice article with just all the pictures of everything that got unveiled. So
Nice. Okay.
and they didn't even bother with the CADs. They have like the physical pictures, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I got two questions. One is, do we have a schedule to stick to? And two, are we going to wait for anybody else before pouring over these and commenting?
Uh, that's a good question. In terms of schedule, it's our usual go through the daily news and some of the reviews first, and then jump into the topic. But considering like this week, I had zero time to get parts of the topic together. It's just a real freestyle. So we're just talking about anything and everything this week.
Yeah, okay. So I guess maybe I can pop some of that stuff up.
Yes. Um, which I know you were saying that you'll be tied up next week, so I think we'll have to push the topic to the week after.
Yeah, I got Halloween things to do, unfortunately.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky there's Halloween things to do, considering last year we're like, nothing.
Yeah. You can look at it that way, I guess.
Mm.
Okay, so they don't have the only thing they're missing here is they don't have any pictures of PulseCon Ravage. So let me pop him up just for a completeness of the thing. Because
Okay.
I'm just pulling everything up quietly in a different window. There we go. Oh, these are like too big. Let me just.
Actually, one interesting thing.
There we go.
Which group is? I believe G1 Forever. Someone started arguing about, or they basically started arguing and name calling, complaining about how G1 people are always whining and complaining about how the movies are not accurate to how G1 used to be. But then I found it interesting. I had to comment to them, I'm like, but you're in a G1 group complaining that people are speaking about G1. And like, you seem to be the only person angry at this moment, not anyone else here.
Yeah. I hate to generalize, but it has been my experience that sometimes people just want to be mad about something online.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
To which I'm like, find your happiness. Life's too short to be angry.
Yeah, like I told him, there's probably a few knitting groups, that you can join to just take that, just relax yourself somewhere else.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Well, I think it's possible that person may have been blocked and the comments deleted, or I just didn't, dig deep enough because it was earlier today. So it would be interesting to see if those comments are still there.
Yeah. Something interesting here as I slowly unpack this Rhinox. So I have the old Thrilling 31 here, right? This is from like 2014. People didn't like it very much, and I'm gonna eventually I'll be comparing which one's better, but not right now because one of the problems is this guy is like freakishly difficult to transform.
Okay.
But he came with Rhinox's chain guns, right? You don't want to blow me up for this one.
Okay.
Yeah. But they weren't painted, so they didn't look very good. But they spun.
Nice. Okay.
Whereas the new guy, I just pulled his weapons out. They're the opposite. They're nicely painted, so they look good, but they don't spin anymore. So it's like, we got a trade off.
That's a weird trade off, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be interested to eventually look at this guy. But yeah. Okay, PulseCon things. Here we go. There's let me get a window up here because there's a lot that could be said about this stuff. Let's share my screen. I'm gonna pick a window, and it's gonna be this window. All right, there we go. All right, so let's actually start with PulseCon Ravage. This is the thing that everybody's trying to find. Covert Agent Ravage.
Okay.
Who is this is as he appeared in the second season of Beast Wars, and they packed him in with a reissue of G1 Ravage too.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And this guy's real nice. If you've ever seen the Beast Wars episode, he's like super accurate.
Okay.
Yeah. And but yeah, everybody already knew about this guy. Like I saw him physically at the 80s Toy Expo. This is just the thing I'm trying to hunt down. That's a good picture.
Yeah, that's a very good picture, and I mean it's cool for them to to have both versions, especially the G1 version of Ravage to come with it.
There's a really weird arcane reason why they did this. Okay, so there's his alternate mode because he changes into a cheetah because he's actually a Cheetor retool, right?
Okay.
So this is funky. On the TV show, the Beast Wars TV show, he didn't change into a cheetah. He compressed and changed into a mini cassette still.
Interesting. How
Yeah,
did they how did they explain that?
that's just because he wasn't a Beast Warrior. He was just a Decepticon from Cybertron. Like he never picked up an Earth mode. He just came straight there.
Interesting. Okay.
So he never got rid of his cassette tape mode. So there's a at the climax of one episode, he changes into it and jumps into a tape player to pilot his ship. But since there was this guy was never meant to be a toy, right? They just made him up for the TV show, like
Okay.
Nightbird and Autobot X and stuff, right?
Right.
Um, so they never cared that you couldn't physically do that. So they made this new one just change into a cheetah, and then they just included the G1 guy to like where is it here? They don't even show him in cassette mode. Oh, here it is on the box. Just so he could also have the thing he changed into on the show, even though he
Right.
can't do that. Yeah.
Still,
So
that's cool.
yeah, that's just a neat way of doing it. And yeah, I'm hunting for this guy. Like I got him on order. But
Okay.
anyway, this is the new stuff that was unveiled during the convention. I'll start blowing up the individual images.
Okay.
Uh,
I think I did see what was it? The green truck, and there was one other that I did see a few images of, but
yeah,
it seems like
Skids.
everyone was really, yeah, Skids. And who was the green truck?
Bulkhead from Transformers Prime.
That's it, Bulkhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seemed everyone was really focused on those two.
Yeah, you know what? Because they actually came out a day early, like as an advance tease.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, I'll start. I'll start with those. Yeah, but so this is it's like a very G1 Skids, right?
Okay.
And this is going to be the line's gimmick. They all come with clear energon weapons that you can mount on the figures.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see him sort of there holding his axe. Yeah,
Nice.
and this is the first time they've done a G1 looking Skids in the main line, because the last one they did back in 2014 was based on his appearance in More Than Meets the Eye, so he was a little
Okay.
different looking.
Okay.
So this is like the obscure guy finally getting a mainline figure.
Yeah, like finally. I mean, between the Skids and Hubcap, like they really just they just really, excluded them. And I
Yeah.
mean, even the newer mini bots in in G1 for season 3, like they really got no airtime. I think Outback and Pipes may have been like the only two to really get noticed.
Yeah, which ripple is the ripple effect of that's why it took so long for this guy to get a proper like mainline figure.
Right.
Yeah. Though, if you apparently, no, actually, I say apparently, if you read the Marvel comics, he got a whole spotlight issue to himself. So
This
Marvel
is true.
heads, yeah, Marvel heads like this guy,
Yes.
and people love to point out that his whether intentionally or unintentionally, his spotlight issue in the Marvel comics was kind of just the plot of the Bumblebee movie before the Bumblebee movie happened.
Wait, as in from the original comics?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You know what? I have to pull my comics out one day and go through that. But I could see that as because I do recall it's between him and a girl, which is almost like this whole separate storyline from everything else that was happening.
Yeah, and then Ravage happens to be chasing him instead of like Shatter and Dropkick or whichever.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's finally getting his G1 centric update, and I'm probably going to get this guy because I actually don't have the other Skids, so I want to put him on my More Than Meets the Eye shelf.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm like, mine as well get the new one.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then the other one that they unveiled in advance was Voyager Bulkhead here from Transformers Prime, reimagined to look like he belongs with the G1 cast, right?
Okay. That's that's what I guess I was seeing some of the comments. So now I understand what people were saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's because he's square instead of round, right? So this guy's a lot of chatter about this guy. People have also pointed out he looks a lot like Last Night Hound because he has the same alternate mode.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm not super into this myself, but that's because I like uh it, but I don't think that's a personal thing and I don't dislike it. But that's just because he like I'm a fan of the TV show and he doesn't really look like the TV show, but
Okay.
if you're a G1 guy, he fits in with those guys, and that's sort of the idea.
Okay. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then while we're on Transformers Prime, they did unveil a third one. They unveiled Transformers Prime RC.
Okay.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird looking one because she has a nose now, so it totally changes how her face looks.
Right. Yeah, she didn't have one before.
Yeah, and she comes with a bunch of circles to be her arm blades that she used to have. And
Okay.
there's her motorcycle. Something people have pointed out is she looks a lot like they're going to repaint her into Flame War, the Decepticon from Brian Ruckley's new IDW comics.
Okay.
Because that character looks a lot like this design. I've seen people already digitally repaint it, and it's like dead on, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
No,
So,
like the detail in on RC and like even in a motorcycle mode, like they really paid attention to that.
oh, yeah. Yeah, like this is another thing where like I'm not super into it, but I appreciate it because like I have like the old Prime one, and I'm like that's still better than this in terms of show accuracy, but that's strictly what I'm there for.
Okay.
But if they do her up as Flame War, because that's a fun character, I would absolutely get the repaint.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so what else do we have here that's interesting? Yeah. Okay, so the other deluxes they unveiled. Okay, this is an interesting one. They're doing Menasor again.
Again.
Yes, because here's the new drag strip.
Ooh, okay. That
And this is
looks that almost looks like G1 identical.
yeah. Here's the robot mode. So yeah, because they didn't outright they haven't shown the other ones, but during the panel they were like, "Yep, he's one of 5 Stunticons." So
Okay.
yeah, and so the big thing here is they're already redoing Combiner Wars basically.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Now here's the thing from sharper minds than me. This bot doesn't have any obvious combiner points on him, right? Like the doesn't have the old combiner connection they made all the Combiner Wars people with.
Okay.
Um, doesn't have an obvious fist hiding anywhere.
Right.
So the rumor is, and this is from reliable sources that already got this right. The rumor is that Motor Master's going to be big, like maybe a commander, and they're going to do the thing that some third-party Menasors have done, where Motor Master forms a skeleton, and these just kind of pop into the arms and legs.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so people are thinking they're going to do that officially, and that explains this guy's design.
Yeah, and I've always found that with Minosaur, it's I don't know if you would say lazy, but at times it just seemed like Motor Master really like Minosaur is really Motor Master.
Yeah.
And it's like he could exist without the other 4 Stunticons, but
Yeah.
then at times it's they make it appear as if like, well, they need the other 4 to exist.
Not true.
Ooh, who's up here? Oh, hey.
What up?
You seen this? You seen this stuff off of the new Legacy stuff? Because that's what we're just looking at.
Oh, the Stunticons?
Yeah.
No, what is? Wait, clarify for me what we're looking at.
This is a drag strip from Transformers Legacy, which is the next line after Kingdom that just got unveiled on Friday. So they're redoing Menasor in the main line. That's a deluxe.
That is so dope because, as far as Combiner Wars is concerned, this is awesome. This is like they deserve a bravo. That's doing it for the fans because I got a million things to say about this.
Yeah, what you got to say?
Should I let? Were you in the middle of something?
I was basically done.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of things here that really show that, like, they're not screwing up the way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So here's why. So Deluxe, that is the in between Legends and Voyager, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now, yes or no, the limbs from Combiner Wars, not including Devastator, right? But the Combiner Wars combiners, of which Menasor was the worst one. So I've heard. So this is point number 1 about why this is really good. Point number 1 is of all the Combiner War stuff, if you're doing Chug, you're doing mainline. Let's say if you're doing mainline, actually, there's a lot of Chug stuff. But if you're doing mainline, your Stunticon set is the worst set that exists. So that's point number one. Point number two is, as we see here, like basically they're redoing them with what we hope is like, the standard level of articulation that we're seeing in all these recent figures, which is, and some of the engineering elements in a basic form borrowed over from Masterpiece, right? So is that the third? That's the third reason that this is really good.
Yeah. What I was saying a second ago was the rumor from sources that are usually pretty trustworthy is that you can't see any obvious combiner bits on him. So people think they're doing that thing that some third-party Menosaurs have done where Motormaster forms the skeleton and these guys pop onto the limbs.
Yeah. So it's exactly where I just ended off, right? Like importing some of the ideas from Masterpiece. So here's let me put on my conservative party hat. And do some neoliberal economics.
Well,
Reaganomics. You see,
I would say just before you bring up your points, try to turn your mic up a little bit.
Okay, give me 1 second. Yo. Am I like really loud now?
Oh,
no, not.
That's like intimate.
Okay, I didn't turn it up. I just got closer to the mic.
All right,
I pulled it closer. Okay, so now I'll have to keep my voice down. Now, where was I? Oh, I'm being conservative. So this is another example of trickle-down economics, a la Reagan era 1980s. So you have these innovations that happen in third-party companies, right? And they do these really high-end, expensive collectibles that is not even economical for Hasbro or Takara to do, right? They do a few Masterpiece figures, but we wouldn't have all these Masterpiece collections if there weren't for third party, because it's just not economical for Hasbro to do, right? So you have third party, you have these hot, really expensive collectibles. And here's an argument now for the ongoing debate about, like, has fans toys, collecting fans toys become ridiculous now because of the huge price increase. But here's the argument that these innovations happen. You pay up front if you're one of the early collectors, early adopters, right? Then this combiner is costing you $800 or $1,200. But several years later, all that technology gets copied by Hasbro and implemented at a level that everybody can buy it. And that's why America is the greatest consumer in the world.
I say I'm listening from Canada.
Well, Canada is just the little brother copycat.
The little brother that's significantly larger.
Oh, well, yeah, 10 times the size, 1/10 the population.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, let me show you the thing from here that I'm most interested in. This is like a pre-order on day one. They're doing a new Laser Optimus Prime, like complete with the trailer and everything.
I've got no idea what Laser Optimus Prime is.
Oh boy, that is the giant Optimus Prime from the very end of Transformers Generation 2 in the 90s. I got this for Christmas when I was a kid. For a long time, people thought this was like one of the best Transformers ever. And he's gotten a couple updates, but now they're doing the full thing with the trailer and everything. Here's just the robot on his own.
So so
I've seen that image.
Yeah.
So when is it that what I'm just realizing that I didn't know is I thought it was the Michael Bay movies 2007 that introduced Optimus Prime as this kind of a truck.
Nope.
The standard shape, as opposed to what Optimus Prime is called a cab over. I don't know what this is called, just standard. But so was this the first time then? Was it G2?
Yep. This is where it first came into place.
Okay.
And it comes with the full battle base and everything. And they've done a couple updates of this design before, but none of them have ever done like the full battle base. So that's a part of the appeal here. And this is
let's see the base. Let's see the base.
Yeah, right here. Got the missile thing up top. Yeah. But yeah, this is marketed directly to me because, like I said, I had this guy back in the day. He's not around anymore because he got broken to pieces because I played with him so much. So this is like,
so let me say something else that I noticed about this right away, which I think you will like. I'm not sure if I would like, but if you stop changing the images.
Yeah. I just meant to stick it to this one.
Okay, so in both this mode and then in the truck mode, what's obvious here is like those legs, that chest, the arms, like that's exactly, basically they took the CAD file from the Earthrise Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
And, kept some parts and changed others. So this is like perfectly in scale, like this is literally what it would look like if your Earthrise is your definitive Prime. And then they and then he met up, and then he scanned a different truck, and now he turns into a different truck. This is exactly how he would look, right?
Yeah, they're
meaning everything else is the same. It's just those truck parts that are different.
Yeah, smarter people who are good at identifying parts than me have already pointed out they did just reuse Earthrise Optimus's legs mostly. There's a couple bits that are different, but the lower torso is mostly Earthrise.
I guess the point that I was making, the point that I was trying to make, or the point that I was thinking about, was here is a case where, normally reusing parts is less fun for us, right? Mm-hmm. Because we've already played with those parts. We want novel parts, but in this case, there's a novelty because it's the same character but a completely different alt mode. You actually the use of the same parts is actually a benefit, is what I'm saying.
I would call it continuity of design. Yeah. So I already showed off.
It's continuity of design beyond just aesthetics and scale.
Yeah.
So it's perfect what you said. Continuity of design, but on a deeper level than we've ever seen because it has triangulating these three things.
Yeah. I already showed off. They're doing some Transformers Prime characters again. They're doing a new version of Bulkhead here. They're doing a new version of RC. These are just straight up from that show.
From Prime.
Yeah, from Transformers Prime. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what they're really succeeding in with this is what we've talked about before, like the way, and this is exactly why they are introducing Beast Wars with G1 and other lines, right? Is to create this multiverse and create a sort of mission creep from fans on one side and not the other to eventually start collecting the other kinds of pieces. And I think we're being pulled along. Because as resistant as I am to Beast Wars or G2 or anything, I could some G2 looks cool and I could see myself just falling down this trail and eventually I'm collecting Optimus Primal and all of them.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say the one problem I have is the Transformers Prime people. I have a Bulkhead and an RC already, and I don't feel interested in getting these ones just because I have ones that are in the same scale and are more accurate to the show just from back in the day, right? And they're pretty modern. They're from 2011, 2012 or so. So, there hasn't been massive engineering leaps since then.
Yeah. But the Transformers they were putting out in 2012, right? That's that earlier kind of chug stuff that that wasn't worth it for me to collect. Mm-hmm. I only I was a MP only collector, G1 and MP only collector until Siege, until they got to the quality level that they're doing in Siege, and then I got sucked in. So I think the same. And the rationale that you just said of okay, well I don't need this character because of I already have a good enough representation. Yeah. I say that so often. I'm so frequently saying that. And then when the new figure comes out, it's like, oh man, I got to get that one. I got to do the swap out. So eventually, it's like mission creep. You just you create these boundaries. Like, I'm not going to let my collection go past this, and then you don't want the boundary anymore.
Yeah. Like I'm trying hard not to get involved in these ones here, just because I'd rather focus on like completing the remaining Beast Wars people, which it's rumored they're probably going to do. And then
well, I think it's smart what you're doing. Like, and also I really like my collections. Like, some people want their collection to be like all official, or all your secrets from the same company. But I actually think it's cool to mix them, right? Mix different models and mix different versions of the characters. You know what? Oh, that would be an awesome challenge for us to put out for like a photo competition. Is like mix and match the best molds of these 5 characters.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Like, so we put out the call of like, okay, we're going to do like the movie cast, like the 5 main people from the movie cast. And then we ask everybody to solicit pictures for next week, and we show the pictures.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we should put that out there. Absolutely.
That would be dope, right? Like, I could, and then we pass that string along in all the groups. Like, people would so be into that. It would motivate people to take pictures and submit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And speaking of updates, like one of the other ones they have here is they're doing the Insecticons again. Like, they're doing a new kickback.
That's good. Nice. That's good, because those legends are they in core class? I'm guessing
this is guys like a straight up deluxe.
Oh wow! Well, even better, because the Insecticons that we have were legend scale.
Yeah,
and they're okay, but they're not great.
Yeah. See, where I'm like those ones are fine by me. They're not great, but I also don't feel motivated to update them, because I'm like, they're good enough.
Right. But well, that's if they were just core class again, then that would be an easier pill to swallow than the fact that they're deluxes, right?
Yeah.
Because this is like a different scale of figure, so it's going to have better engineering, right?
Yeah.
More articulation. That looks good.
Yeah.
Like, this is
I'm impressed with how that looks.
Okay, here's what I want to say about this. Just like leave this on the screen and think about this. The whole purpose of Masterpiece was to give us the toys that we wanted as kids, as adults. But now the main line is doing that. Like, that is the figure with the articulation that I wanted as a kid. So now the gap between the main line, the good stuff they're putting out in main line, and Masterpiece is so much smaller. And it's not even the representation of the character that's better now. It used to be the engineering, representation of the character, and materials are better in Masterpiece, right? But now you're going to get better materials, better engineering, but you're not, but this is giving you those, feels of like, this is exactly the character I remember. So it's really dope.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Speaking of that, I already showed it off. They're just doing a straight up G1 skids again, like a proper G1 skids, because the last one was like sort of more than meets the eye, and this one's more like G1.
Oh, now that's weird, because now this is kind of the opposite of what I was just saying.
Yeah.
Because this mold, like as soon as you said skids, I was like, that's funny, because they're putting out a Masterpiece skids right now.
Yeah. It's straight up competing with themselves. Yeah.
But now when you look at this doesn't look like close to the Masterpiece version, right? Like, if you take the Earthrise side swipe that you just got, right? Take that side swipe, compare it to Masterpiece side swipe. They're similar. right?
Yeah,
The difference is just better engineering and better materials, right? But the articulation is going to be close. But this guy here is not close to the masterpiece that they're doing. So this is them kind of like dropping him down.
Yeah,
a notch.
I bet it has to do with production timelines because, like, I think they were probably being developed by different people in different places. That's why one didn't copy the other or anything. Yeah.
Well, but it also makes sense. Like, if they did copy one another, then it would be one of these scenarios where, like, why are you offering both these things?
Yeah.
Right. They're basically the same. But this is different enough. Like, is this deluxe or now is this core class?
These are all deluxe. They didn't show any core classes yet at this thing. There are going to be more.
This doesn't look good to me. This doesn't like. This is like exactly the opposite of everything I just said. Compared to the kickback, right? Like, this looks like a kid's toy. This looks like, put that in Cyberverse.
Poor Skids.
Yeah.
No, look, this is a retarded version of Skids. Pull up the open another tab and put this side by side with the masterpiece one.
Let's see.
Well, while I was searching that, good evening, Jason. Thank you for pointing out our audio
cats
or a few minutes ago.
Oh, was it the audio? Was he talking about me? I was too far away.
Yes.
I gotta just chill. Thank you, Jason. You're tuned in to Be Cool Radio. Be cool.
Sunday nights.
You're on the radio. Like, look at that.
Just trying to. There we go.
Yeah. Put them side by side.
Yeah. Comparison wise, like,
it looks stupid.
Yeah.
It looks like an insult to Skids.
Yeah.
This is like, if you showed me that, now that's what I would expect from 2011. You were just saying, they were still okay in 2011, 12. It's like this looks to me like 2012 Skids.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a joke because, like, it's the opposite of everything else. Here, look at this. Let me get a zoom in spin.
Let's see, get here. There we go.
You're upside down though.
Yes. Oh, so turn the box around.
I can turn the box around. Yeah, I can't turn the screen around. Would be harder. Yeah. There you go. Clearly, I'm burnt out already. Okay, so this is like close to a masterpiece figure, as we discussed when it was first coming out. That garbage, that little baby Skids is suitable only for core class. Murder. I call Murder Prime.
Invoking Murder Prime.
Yeah. I mean, like Hasbro was in the middle of getting a compliment from Professor D. Okay, the most critical motherfucker out there is like, okay, mainline doing something right. Just like me.
Murder Prime is like the Matrix and the Sword of Omens. Like it'll just show up at any moment.
That's right, and we taking them out.
Yep. So Jason mentioned that, Skids isn't exactly the most aesthetic character.
But look at that masterpiece version there. He looks great.
True.
Like, that masterpiece one makes him a good-looking character.
And I could almost I could counter argue with what Jason said in terms of, in a sense, I agree that Skids is, isn't the most aesthetic character, but then you look at, say, Inferno, Grapple, Ratchet, and Ironhide. They too could have fallen into that.
Yeah, much worse. Yeah,
exactly. But they were able to make them look better than what we had originally.
Wait, Grapple? I wouldn't. Why would you say Grapple?
Well, Inferno and Grapple are basically the same molds. Although, funny enough, Inferno and Grapple are probably the very few G1 characters that were identical to the cartoon. But I mean, just them being a fire truck and a crane. I mean, you look at Hook, from the Constructicons, like they could have fallen into exactly how Skids is, not the greatest looking character, but they've been able to fix them up.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he was just talking about like the fanciness of the alt mode, like he's not a Porsche, he's not a Lamborghini, etc. But like in terms of the Honda, okay, so exactly, he's talking about the little car that he turns into. It's not prestigious, but that G1 toy is a good toy, right? It had some good die cast, the colors popped, it's a good it was a good G1 toy. So I think he means the prestige of the vehicle mode, and if not, maybe he means just the way that he was drawn in the cartoon, because in the cartoon, like, they didn't make his proportions very heroic, which is very different than this masterpiece version that you just put on the screen.
Which kind of the same thing in the original comics. Like it's almost like they just really didn't put much love into Skids overall. TF Collect mentions the MP Skids celebrates the Honda City Turbo and has to look amazing and spot on. Legacy Skids is a step down, which he agrees with Professor D. But I still like it. The 2013 IDW Skids is my favorite aesthetic of the character.
2000, which one? 13. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull that up so we can see it, because I'm not familiar.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'll get it up on the screen here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go grab. Skids have a Optimus Prime's face.
I'm gonna go grab a Skids or two, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, I got a story about that.
Grab a couple of Skids. Pick up the Skids from school.
I need to get on the wiki. I need to get on the wiki for these, because they always have like nice pictures of both modes at once.
Okay.
Let me get on there. I can't type right now. Here we go. Yeah, there's a. Oh,
you see, I like that image.
Oh, the one on his wiki page right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that from? Art from his Transformers collection reissue packaging. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is.
TF Collect mentions pull up Legend Skid is more comic accurate.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I've even seen that version you just had.
Yeah. So this is what I was alluding to earlier. It's the last time they did mainline Skids, and he was specifically based on his appearance in More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light instead of his G1 look, because Thrilling 30 was pretty heavily tied into IDW comics, and there were a few of those figures at that time, like that Springer that's based on his Last Stand of the Wreckers look came out in that line, stuff like that.
Right.
So they were big on doing comics figures at the time.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, and like to be fair, the comic they made him like heavily armed. They made him like a cool specialist who like could learn things really quickly, so he was good at a bunch of stuff. They gave him all those weapons and those shoulder launchers and stuff. So, he was like the cooler Skids on purpose.
And I mean that's cool. Again, using the word cool, but I mean, in a sense, we're so used to so many of the main characters, and I mean, especially in the last decade, when the focus has just been Optimus and Bumblebee, and there's many others that almost in every version of Transformers, they like there's always a focus on those core characters, but like Skids just never had like any real focus. It's basically like a 1% focus in the G1 comics and 1% in the cartoon.
Yeah, that spotlight issue that I talked about does a lot of heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear, like, I've heard a theoretical reason for why he kind of got shafted, and it's because Skids actually came out in 84 as a refresh instead of 85. So by the time they got to plugging the 85 stuff in the cartoon, like he was technically old news, so they just kind of skipped him over.
Interesting. I mean, I wonder if Hubcap would fall under that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Hubcap's a little more mysterious because he was an 86 guy. Yeah, and that's
it's weird that he's an 86 guy, but then he has the the build from the 84, which really those builds were from like 83.
Yeah, those builds are ancient. Chris McFeely did a panel a while back about discovering that they might even oh wait, no, he's not a Mysterian. That's a microchange guy. Never mind. I'm getting my wires crossed. Yeah. But yeah, that's the Thrilling 30 guy in question. I pulled this guy up.
Terrible. Wait, this is the one you're saying is adequate?
That TF Collect, not me.
Okay.
Hey, it's one thing if you got.
Didn't you say you don't need to upgrade the skids in your collection?
No. I don't have this guy. So it was like, up, huh? Yeah, it was kickback that I didn't feel the need to upgrade.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good. Crosswise. Yeah, this looks pretty like horrendous. Is he like a
yeah?
Is he a samurai? Yeah. Is this maybe this is genius. Maybe this is was the inspiration for everything Iron Factory does.
Yeah. Well, this is what he looked like in More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light, and this was based on that because Thrilling 30 was doing all those comic ones at the time.
Yeah, but why did his two fingers for like he's got two dinosaur fingers for legs?
I don't know because that's how Alex.
It's as if he transforms into one of Beast Wars Megatron's claws.
Let me see if I can find
one of his hands.
Yeah, it's just what he looked like in. Trying to find a good picture, like a good full body shot.
Sorry, yeah, it's collective. This is your favorite skids. What can I tell you?
Like this is just what he looked like in those comics, and the figure is just based on that.
Okay, and notice that they're not showing the
the
golden legs.
Almost, but not quite.
Because if you have a dream and you don't see feet, there's a reason for it.
I don't get that one.
I don't get it either.
Well, they really don't have.
It was created in VR. They can't do feet quite right yet.
They really don't have a picture of his feet anywhere. Wait, sort of right there. That's his silhouette.
So have we stumbled upon something?
Yeah. Look at those legs. Those legs actually belong to. That's obviously Hungar's legs. So that's not really.
Yeah, like they got faces there.
Turn into dragon heads.
Yeah, like those are his heads.
Yeah, they're not claws. They're not two fingers.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is unreal. This is
but it was TF Collect's point is that it's the comic accuracy.
Yeah. Bring it back up here. Where is he? Here he is. Yeah. So something I always like bringing up. This guy right here. This is the other guy that they're releasing alongside Masterpiece Skids because it's his retool.
Yeah, who's buying that?
Let me tell you because I think this is a little bit adorable. Actually, this is a brand new character reboost, and he changes into a red Honda City Turbo in comparison to Skids' blue. And the reason he actually exists is because the toy's designer. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name because I'll mangle it. The Japanese designer of this toy owned a Honda City Turbo. Yeah, so he turned his car into a Transformers character.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
His old car that he used to own.
The designer of that mold?
Yeah, the designer of that mold owned that car. So he's like, well, I'm going to make my car into a Transformers character. So that's entirely why this guy exists.
That's cool.
I wonder if that's his first car because when you have that attachment to your very first car, so it's now I can make a transformer. So I could see you creating creating the Firebird.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to do that. But let me show you this. You guys know which skids this is here?
That's the original. Yeah, you might want to blow it up.
It's not the original. Yeah, give me full screen spin.
Oh, now that I can see its size relative to your hands.
And you're upside down again.
I'll put a more neutral background here. Right. So is that close enough? Can you see it clearly?
Yeah.
Or should I bring the camera closer? Oh, it's upside down. Okay. How's that?
There we go. Yeah. So is that the X Transbots one, I guess?
Correct. X Transbots.
Yeah. Is it metal or plastic?
This is a gorgeous figure. I'll find out in a second. It's got some weight. I think there's got to be some die cast in here somewhere. But like, look at the shine, right?
No, exactly. Like that does look nice. Right.
So like, I don't think that the Takara one looks better than this. Like, and it actually looks like they copied it. You know what? It looks like Takara actually copied X Transbots and just made a slightly. Oh, here's the gun in the scooter. So this original Honda actually it was made as like a really economical vehicle. And the idea was you drive into the city and then, park sort of on the outskirts of the city and then pull out your transforming scooter and throw it in the back.
It's interesting because Reboost comes with the scooter, but Skids doesn't.
That's weird.
Well, funny. I'm thinking, to tie in, I'm going to say shout out to TF Collect, shout out to Jason, and shout out to Toy Warp Vintage Reviews on YouTube, who's joining us. And his comment was, his or hers comment was that prime looking head though, eek.
Talking about Reboost, I guess.
Yeah, well, funny.
Can we see it again?
Let's
see that again. I didn't see it.
I just pulled it up.
Considering that the Reboost is red, has an Optimus Prime head, and then that little that little scooter, it's almost an Optimus concept going on there, where that scooter is kind of like roller.
Yeah, that's it. I definitely wonder once again if it's creator favoritism. He's like, well, I'm gonna make my car look like Optimus Prime because my car was the best car.
Yep.
Can you full screen it?
Let's.
Okay, yeah. We're just going. Yeah, you know what? It almost looks Orion Pack-ish.
Yeah. It makes me think a lot of that Alternators Optimus they did that turned into a truck.
I didn't have that one. I think it was trash.
Yeah, it was not good. I did. It was like one of the few I had.
So are you serious? Skids is not coming. If Skids doesn't come with that motorcycle in the back, then they literally are giving you like a crappy version of the X Transbots.
Yeah. They're telling.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they're telling you to go buy his Transformers OC that he created instead because it comes with more things.
Exactly. Okay, and that's where the Optimus Prime head comes in. So it all makes sense.
Yeah. I just admire it for its audacity. Like, would you not do the same thing if you were in the position to do so? My first car was a crappy Saturn station wagon. I would absolutely turn it into a Transformer if I could.
Oh yeah, I mean, what Spin? Maybe you didn't catch what Spin just said. Is he referenced my first Trans Am?
Oh,
and it was actually the same car, I think, as which character? Tailgate. Is that right?
Oh yeah,
Tailgate and actually Tailgate and isn't one of the battle chargers?
Yep,
it's the battle chargers.
Oh yeah, that's the third one, right? So we did this before on the stream.
Wind Charger and Tailgate share an alternate mode, so that's probably who you're talking about.
Well, that's not who he's talking about. So that's who those were the two that I know. And then I think we had this discussion, and then we were like, okay, then the other, and then we figured out maybe two more that transformed. into
Yeah, it was
Firebirds?
one of the early mailaways, like those three mailaway
Omnibots?
Autobots. And then is it Battle Chargers? Runabuck and Runabout.
Yeah, it's a Battle
Yeah.
Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
so
forgot
one
they
of
were
them.
bad. Oh, that's why I didn't get it. Yeah. But is it the white one or the black one? I think it's Run Amok, which is the black one.
Runabout is the black one, and you know because there's a B in his name. That's how I always remember.
Nice.
Touche. Okay, so we're jumping all over the place. I can't keep the thoughts straight.
That's the point of a freestyle.
Yep. Toy Warp has mentioned Wind Charger was a Trans Am.
Right. So so the reason why I was saying Tailgate is because Wind Charger was the Trans Am, Tailgate is the recolor, but he's in white. And my first Trans Am was an '84 Trans Am. It was white.
Right.
Yeah. So you already have your OC.
Oh, and one of the micro Autobots, the car line, there was the red miniature one was also a Trans Am.
Dope. So unfortunately, the Earthrise Runabout. I think I have Runabout. I do not have Runamuck. Okay, so you just told me the black one is Runabout. That's right. So I don't have Runabout. I do have Runamuck, but which is the white one. But I don't think he's the one that turned into the Firebird, is he?
God, I'm the worst person to ask because I'm not a car guy. I could look it up.
Yeah, because I think that they said in the fiction, like the Battle Chargers, as far as I know, in G1, they were the exact same toy, just a black and a white one. But when you look it up online, they seem to say that they are different cars.
Yeah, I somehow thought they were the same.
Yeah, the wiki identifies his Runabout as changing into a Lotus Turbo Esprit sports car.
Okay, i.e., not a Firebird. And then what about Run Amok?
Let's pop it up here. Yeah, Run Amok is a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. That's so yeah, he's the one.
Okay, so now, but look at that alt mode.
Yeah, I just popped him up.
Okay. Now, is that okay? Now, perfect. G1. Now, let's compare it to Runabout and see if they're the same car or they changed it. That does look like the Firebird.
Well, Toy Warp says Run Amok is a Trans Am, but then TF Collect also says one is a Trans Am, one is a Lotus Esprit. No,
yeah.
But we're checking the G1 toy to see if it was actually.
There we go.
See, is that mold any different? Oh, the windows are different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the grill? Is there molding difference? This is perfect. How you're flipping back and forth. Let's see. Or is it just the deco?
It looks.
The front grill
different.
is different. Front grill is different.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the lines on the hood
is...
are there? Oh yeah, different lines on the hood.
Yeah, Toy Warp says Runabout is a Ferrari, and then also said that they cheated and looked at my G1 case.
Wait, he's a Ferrari?
That's not what the wiki says.
Yeah, because a Ferrari is not a Lotus. Now get a load of this Lotus. What did Run Amok say about Runabout? Oh. Get a load of this Lotus.
Toy Warp says
on Energon, he must be loaded.
So it is between a Trans Am and a Lotus.
Yeah. So anyway, this is.
Wait, a Trans Am, so it's not a Ferrari? Are you calling one of our viewers a liar?
The viewer said that made a mistake and corrected and said it was a Lotus.
Oh, he said he made a mistake?
Yes.
So you're calling him out on his... He already admitted that he made a mistake, and you're rubbing his nose in it. How do you expect us to build an audience when you treat him like this?
Isn't that how you build an audience?
That's right. Yes. You got it's called hard love.
Which
I spoke to you when I come back.
TF Collect, if you're listening, I wonder if you recall the conversation earlier today in, I believe it was the G1 Forever room, regarding the conversation about, it's slowly coming to my head, about jazz. And again, one of those room things where everyone started arguing in terms of the model of jazz. Is it jazz or not, or this and that, or sorry, if it's a Porsche or not. And one person decided to just come into G1 room and started arguing and yelling and cussing and name calling everyone, saying that everyone in the G1 room is complaining about stuff not being G1 accurate in the G1 room.
Was this on Facebook?
This was on Facebook.
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah. I feel the comment, and there we go. People upset Porsche 911 was Mirage and not Jazz. And it just got into a real technical battle since Jazz is a 935.
I think they're talking about Rise of the Beasts. They're talking about Rise of the Beasts and how Mirage is the Porsche in that movie.
Yes. And it was just the mindset is like, the minute you hear the word Porsche and Transformers, you automatically think of Jazz. So I mean, but that's not that. The version they have in the movie is not the specific version of Jazz, because I mean, Dead End is also a Porsche, and as is which Autobot is it? Cliff Jumper.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up a interesting recently released image here. There we go. That is.
Yes, I've seen that image.
Yeah, that's official. That's the Autobots in the new movie, and so that'd be Mirage, Optimus, a van of unknown character, Bumblebee, and RC. But people think the van is going to turn out to be Wheeljack because of some leaks around him being in the movie and process of elimination.
Well, okay, because let's see, names revealed, Terracon, Autobot van. Okay, yeah, because one of the stories on the website is relating the VW van as to being an Autobot.
Yeah, there's the bad guys. Scourge. I think the truck is rumored to be Battle Trap or Flywheels, and then the car is Nightbird.
I can't take the tow truck seriously. I would even think Hoist, but really, when I look at that model of tow truck, I think of the Cars movie.
Yeah, I've been seeing that around. It's hard to take it seriously as a bad guy because of it.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh boy, here comes Tow-Mater.
I've never seen Cars, so I can't comment.
When you have children, you start to watch, you watch all the children's movies, over and over again. So you start memorizing a lot of things, between Disney, Lion King, everything. Yeah.
I expect so.
There you go. So TF Collect mentions Jazz is Porsche 935. Dead End is Porsche 928. Minerva is a Porsche 955. Cliff Jumper, Squished, is a Porsche 924. And now Mirage is a Porsche 911.
Oh, okay. So I guess there's room for everybody in the Porsche spectrum. See, this is all Greek to me because I don't know anything. I'm not a car guy. So.
I'm more of like a car stereo guy, so I can identify the variations of of certain model cars and everything, but I don't get into the details of of like cars and engines and horsepowers and stuff. I'm like, but how loud does it sound?
I mean, that's a good thing to be into. I'm like, everything I know about car models is I learned from Transformers, which is not a huge spread. Yeah. Yeah, I do love these vehicles though. This is a good way to market this movie to me because I'm like I may not know what they are, but I'm like this is an attractive lineup of characters. You know, they can make some good
It
figures
is.
out of these vehicles if they get them all licensed. You know.
Oh yeah. And I mean, hopefully you would think uh, even before getting them on the screen, like they take care of like all of those of the licensing that needs to be done. Because I mean, on the company side of it, like you want to sell, like you just want to sell.
Yeah. All right. Now that comment from Toy Warp's interesting because I don't know anything about that. What's weird is they're making the vehicles period correct, but the body kit on that Nissan certainly didn't exist in the '90s. Which one's the Nissan? That'd be Nightbird, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the one in the front.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. See, I don't know. I wouldn't know that because I'm not a car person. But these are not Decepticons. These are Terrorcons who may or may not be tied into Unicron. So you could always say, maybe Unicron reformatted Nightbird and gave her a upgrade kit from the future into her car mode.
Oh boy! So you're saying the Terracons are not Decepticon based and almost like a third?
Yeah, that seems to be. This is like we're getting in the weeds here with like hearsay from sources, but
Hmm.
yeah, they seem to be their own thing.
Okay.
Possibly tied to Unicron, possibly. That would make sense for Scourge, because it's Scourge.
Right. Well, TF Collect says Nightbird is a Nissan Skyline GTR.
Ah,
So I saw somewhere in the conversation that people were saying that model of Nissan didn't exist in the 90s if the movie's
yeah.
based on that. But then someone else did say that Nissan Skylines were around from the late 70s. So I'm guessing it's just, in terms of the variation of the model, did that model exist in the 90s? Um, and I mean, sometimes with certain cars, if they're not like before they become popular or people don't realize them, like a certain model may have existed like many, many years beforehand and just people never knew about it, and until at some point in like the late 80s, 90s, like now that's the go-to model. And like, it just seems like, the brand new thing, but it always existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, depending on her origins, they might be able to excuse it as being a funky space car.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do like that Scourge, from what we can tell, and from what people that saw his robot mode but weren't allowed to take pictures have said, because like that's official too. Like there was a
Okay.
presentation. They seem to have put every Scourge together because he's possibly tied to Unicron and he has a beard and he has claws. So like they got sort of the G1 thing going on, but also he's a black truck who's kind of Optimus like, so it's like his robots in disguise version. And then, he's the leader of the Terracons and
Mhm.
he's a bit beastly, so it's a little bit of the Cybertron Scourge. So they just put all of them together into one character, basically.
Right. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, how they explain, these characters.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like this especially, like, I just. I just love the idea of Wheeljack being a bus now. It actually probably fits him more than the rally racer that he originally was.
Yes.
Like I imagine that you just open the back of this bus and he just has a pile of tools in there, just like loose,
Yep.
like falling out.
Yep. And especially if it is considering it's based on like late 80s and 90s, like the inside, exactly as you said, is just going to be like a bunch of tools and parts just falling out, or like just a mess back there.
Yeah, yeah, I would be. Yeah, uh, I guess I'm gonna go all the way back to the legacy thing and show the last thing, which is another exclusive that they unveiled, which was a reformatting version of Galvatron.
Okay.
Like, and this is a repaint of his leader class figure that they did in Kingdom. Yeah. Uh, People are calling him Grape Galvatron. Yeah. And the interesting thing is he comes with not the display stand, but everything else here because he's meant to be an accompaniment to HasLab Unicron.
Okay.
So he comes with a bunch of spaceships and a whole lot of the little minifigures.
Now, is that spaceship as big enough for him to stand on, or is it just a miniature version to have?
No, these are small. These would be like the size of the Autobot shuttle that came with Unicron. So these would be like mini ships. I have one of those little figures. I have the Optimus Prime that came with Centurion. These guys are like, no exaggeration, each of them is the size of a large grain of rice. Like they're tiny.
That's insane. Like I would not have imagined them being that small, even from the image.
No, it's scary small. I'm surprised I haven't lost it yet. I feel like if I sneeze too hard, it's going to just vanish into thin air. Yeah. I could swallow it and have zero problems.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, so like these guys are tiny.
How do they add that much articulation to a character that tiny? Because in the image like that, it really doesn't look that small.
Oh no, this guy's like a full leader class. These guys are just like non-posable minifigures.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, this is a big guy. This is like a leader class figure.
Okay.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is people are like, this is a weird thing for people to buy into because, like, none of this stuff would be of interest to you unless you already had Unicron. So there's like a built-in like scarce market that would be interested.
Got it.
Yeah. So people are all automatically like, there's probably going to be split up on the aftermarket. There's going to be, do you want the purple Galvatron or do you want the Unicron bits? Do you want them both? Do you want them separate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I could say there's been plenty of rumors about what else is happening in Legacy, and it's from the same like fairly accurate sources.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna pull it up here. Oof, there's a lot of it. All right. This will take me a couple minutes, but yeah. Actually, maybe I'll just say it out loud. Rumors for upcoming Legacy stuff is that the Titan class figure is going to be a new version of Metroplex, but not the Metroplex that we know, not G1 Metroplex. It's going to be a Titan-sized Cybertron Metroplex, and in fact, let me just post the photo that has been leaked.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got that up there. And this was before the convention came out. So this is more or less verified now because they were using that logo, and that's the logo that we now see is actually the logo from the show.
Okay.
So this has more or less been soft verified. So this is going to be our next Titan. It's a Cybertron Metroplex. So he changed into a big buzzsaw type thing.
Yeah, well, what's like, I guess, comparable? Like, what size is he?
He's a Titan.
I'm trying to remember, like, how big are Titans?
They're the biggest size. They're Sage Omega Supreme, Earthrise Scorponok, Kingdom Arc.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pop a picture of the original up here for comparison. Where's he at? Here we go. Oh, did I get him? No, I missed. Almost. It's just dragging windows around is treacherous sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. So here he is.
Okay.
This is the old figure. He changed into a big buzzsaw. He was tall and blue. And did I get rid of the new one? There he is. Yeah, okay. And so that's the new one. So that's what's going to be coming out as the new Titan.
Okay.
And so other Other legacy rumors include more core class figures like Hot Rod, Skywarp, Iguanus, G2 Megatron. More deluxes. We're going to see Prime Knockout. They're going to do Tarantulas. There's a couple other Stunticons listed.
Okay.
A new version of Elita 1. Point Blank and Crankcase to an Autobot Target Master and a Decepticon Terracon. Okay, those are all the deluxes. And then, Voyagers. There's going to be a new blaster to go alongside Bulkhead, so he just hasn't been unveiled yet.
Okay.
Voyager size blaster. Oh, this is such a pain. Let me just.
Which then are they gonna create Voyager size cassettes?
I mean, probably not. I feel like they're gonna keep the current cassette ecosystem, but I'm just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, the Soundwave that they already did was a Voyager, so.
Okay.
Then Laser Optimus Prime we know about. There's a rumor of a leader class Blitzwing.
Nice. Okay.
And then Beast Wars Dragon Megatron.
Okay.
Oh, and then the leak says Commander class Motormaster. So that's for Menasor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's what we got to look forward to. And all those things are probably coming true because this list accurately predicted the first wave. So,
mm-hmm.
So we can look forward to that. People who are a fan of the Unicron trilogy will love Cybertron Metroplex because that's where he comes from.
Okay.
Oh, I got so many tabs open now. I'm just like, where are we? Where are we? There we are.
Well, I mean, the transformation of Metroplex reminds me of almost the concept of the machines from Nebulous in Rebirth, whereas like they basically rebuilt the machines for Scorponok and Fortress Maximus.
Oh yeah. Let me pop it up again there. Yeah. I see what you mean because they got the big grabby mouth thing and
yeah.
I've never made that connection before, but I can see that.
Well, I mean, considering it's like especially now, like they just take bits and pieces of different lines and concepts and just kind of piece it together into something.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that's what they're trying to do with Legacy is try and have a little bit for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Which ironically means that I'd be probably getting less than I usually get because I'm personally not interested in like Unicron trilogy stuff or like Transformers Prime updates. Though, the original Transformers Prime Knockout, which I have, not a very good figure. So depending on what his update looks like, I could get that one just because it would be a lateral improvement probably.
Okay.
Rumor is that he's a retool of Studio Series Jazz now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let me just see if I can pull up some more leaks here. More Shattered Glass on the way, supposedly. Wheeljack, Soundwave, Blaster, and Ultra Magnus, the Shattered Glass versions of them.
Okay.
Ultra Magnus is the most interesting one to people because he that would put him in his powered convoy colors, the red and blue Diaclone looking ones.
Right, yes.
Because that's what he looked like in Shattered Glass.
Okay.
Legacy guys. Oh, Studio Series. Yeah, Studio Series. Supposedly they're going to do a bunch of the characters from the start of the Bumblebee movie. Like, they've already done a few, but, like, there's listings for, like, Ratchet, Wheeljack, Brawn, RC, Ironhide, those guys. Oh, and Soundwave.
Okay.
And that's going to be real interesting because they're going to have to invent alternate modes for all of those guys because they'd never even designed them, much less didn't use them in the film.
That is true.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what they decide to make them look like.
Well, TF Collect says I'd be looking forward to an updated Prime knockout as well.
Yeah. He might have a nose. So that might be a little weird. There's supposedly because and this has happened before with IDW lots of times. There's a new Wreckers comic coming out. It's called Treads and Circuits, and
Okay.
some people think that some of the characters in there are like secretly looks at their upcoming legacy stuff, which has happened before, like in previous toy lines. So there's precedent. I'm gonna just see if I can find a cover that might show what the new knockout looks like.
All right, cool.
Wreckers, Treads, and Circuits cover. Yeah, looking for the one with knockout on it. I know it exists. Circuits cover.
There we go.
There he is. I got him.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, too big. There we are. And yeah, people think this is what he's gonna look like because you can see he already has Jazz's legs there. So this is probably using the upcoming figure as a reference.
Right.
Yeah. Though it is filtered through a bit of a cartoony art style, so he probably isn't this exaggerated.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably what he's gonna look like roughly.
I think I almost feel like watching the Prime series again. So I mean, between watching the Prime series and then watching a Beast Wars,
Yeah.
Okay, I know it's like a lot of interesting characters, but between the two, but yeah, like really enjoying the Prime series. Yeah, it would be nice to see an updated version for Nako.
Yeah. They might even. Yeah, there might even be a Prime Soundwave coming if some of the leaks are true. So I'm sort of
okay.
Just like with Kingdom, if it gets with Beast Wars, if it gets people going, what was this show to look at it, then I think that's a win.
Yes, exactly.
I've been over here this whole time telling people watch Beast Wars, but also watch Transformers Prime. Maybe in 20 years, Cyberverse will finally get it to do, and they'll do an updated version of that, and I can be like, you guys should have watched this in 2021. It was a good show.
Yep, you guys are far behind. Like now you're mentioning how good it was.
Yeah. I would like to see Transformers Prime get a new comic as well, not just Beast Wars, because Beast Wars is pretty much the perfect approach.
Okay. Well, how many comics did a Prime have for the Prime series? How many comic books did they have?
Not much. They didn't have a dedicated comic. They had like some stuff in the UK, and they had like a one-shot preview issue, but like they didn't have an ongoing series or anything.
Got it. Let us go to childrenofprimus.com.
I feel like a lot of the things on here is going to be about about the stuff that just dropped.
Yeah. Yes.
There. Because there was this big panel of artwork there they showed that clearly showed some upcoming figures they hadn't talked about.
Okay. Oh, there's an interesting delay between oh, I know why, because I'm in a different screen. You have multiple windows up.
Yeah, the problem is like as these streams get long in the tooth and I have like 20 windows open as I look for things, I lose track of like where I am and what I'm looking at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump with this one first. First look at Legacy Blaster, Iguanus, Skywarp, and Hot Rod plus more official.
Yeah, these are with Blaster's going to be a Voyager, like I said, but everybody else in that picture is core class figures. Once the artwork loads, there's a couple of interesting things to note there.
Okay, and
just gave you another YouTube sub.
Yeah, thank you, Toy Warp Vintage.
Yeah, if we haven't subbed you back by tomorrow, I'll get on there and do that myself, because I think vintage reviews are often more interesting than new reviews.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. I hope we have a nice, good, full picture of the art, because that's just a little tiny corner of it showing Skywarp and Iguanus.
Okay, just this image.
Yeah, because like there's a picture of Hot Rod there, and the interesting thing is you can see Hot Rod still holding a sword like Kingdom Rodimus Prime. So I guess they're just making that into a standard thing now.
Okay. Standard, almost like taking Bumblebee's voice.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. Rodimus Prime looks good with a sword, so if that of all the things to turn into a standard thing, that ain't a bad choice.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go back for another story. And weekly international sightings roundup, October week number 3.
Oh boy. That must be the UK or something, because that's a Toys R Us sticker. Yeah, I guess that's the regular version of Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee, because the Buzzworthy one came out first.
Okay. So let's see, according to the story, it's time for a new international sighting roundup courtesy of TFW 2005 member all over the world. This week, the latest Studio Series Deluxe hit shelves in Malaysia and Germany. Beast Wars Optimus Primal reissue and new War for Cybertron Netflix toys have been spotted in Mexico, and War for Cybertron Tricanius?
Tricranius. Oh, is that getting a...
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is that... I didn't realize that was going to get a non-online release, because like that's the set that is mostly interesting because it comes with a ton of blast effects. Like it's an expansion pack of those.
Ah, okay. It's been spotted retail in Singapore.
Huh. That's interesting, because that didn't get released here at EB Games. You can only get that through Hasbro Pulse, just like with the Centurion accessory pack, because I guess they're not interested in selling a big pile of accessories at retail unless you're in Singapore.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's always a question of where certain characters and toys get released. Because actually, I think either last week or the week before, everyone in Toronto complaining about trying to find certain figures, and somebody posted an image of their Walmart Transformers section actually being completely stocked, and they said this is in Toronto. So I had to comment to them, like, well, which part of Toronto is this? And they actually said it's Milton. And I'm like, okay, so that's outside of Toronto. But then it's weird. This Walmart outside of Toronto is fully stocked with like all the Transformers figures everyone's looking for. No one in Toronto can find anything because the stores, it's just completely unavailable in the stores.
Jeez. That's why I do shopping online these days. Just avoid that hassle.
Yep. All right, let's so another story, right? So we got our first look, and
that is just what I was talking about.
There we go.
Yeah, supposedly you can pre-order some of this stuff, right?
Well, let's see what they say. So Transformers Legacy Wave 1 was officially revealed earlier today, and now pre-orders are going live around the web.
Yeah.
Uh,
I will say this, and it's an old bit of like collecting. Well, I hesitate to say wisdom, but like wave one of anything is never hard to find. So like I wouldn't scramble to pre-order these guys. They're going to be everywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like the later waves, sure, but like these guys will not be hard to find.
And what's the reasoning for that?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, stores order the new like stores order the new thing, and then when it sells out, they order new waves, right? But everybody orders the first wave to start with, right?
Right.
That's just me spitballing, though. I'm not a. You need to talk to somebody who's in the business for that. I just know it is a thing that exists.
Oh, it'd be nice to connect with Danny to see what he would say about it.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting actually. Names revealed for Terracon tow truck and Autobot VW van. Oh yeah, I guess they aren't rumors. I guess they're legit, eh?
Okay, well, let's see what they're saying. So, reporting you can watch right here on Facebook. Looks at different vehicles. Okay, and we learned that Volkswagen van indeed is Wheeljack, as many as guessed. The tow truck is Battle Trap.
Ah, that's who it was.
Okay, so that's they just gave a bit of the story here. But yeah, at least that confirms some of what you were mentioning earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Battle Trap definitely feels like a name slap in this case. Neither of that duocon's modes was a tow truck.
That's correct. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I'm trying to think. A classic VW. I mean, you see one of these VWs, and you start thinking of like old school Woodstock type of vibes. So I'm wondering what personality are they going to give Wheeljack?
Yeah, I mean, if this is anything like the Bumblebee movie, I don't expect they'll go too far off track. But I just do like the idea that he's just this like inventor jamming around in his van, except he is a van. So
yes,
kind of gives me Doc Brown vibes almost.
Nice, yeah, that would be cool. So TF Collect says stores want to get in the new waves, so late waves often get shafted as stores order less of them.
Yeah, because it's always the final waves of lines that are hard to find, like the tail enders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, hello, sir.
There we go. Dinner time.
Yeah, can't hear you yet. There you are. Wow, we can hear you.
Okay, that was Wheeljack.
Yeah. He's
that
a
Wheeljack.
Nope.
He's a bus.
He's a bus now. I don't know why they made him into a bus.
I was saying it fits an inventor more than a rally racer, because I'm like I just imagine you'd open the back of that van and he just has a giant pile of tools that just fall out so he can build things.
Sure, they did that with Q.
Yeah,
I knew it was in a bus. I don't know why they put up a Volkswagen bus, to be honest with you. Like, that wasn't popular back in the 90s. Come on.
Wow.
Has
Wheeljack ever been cool? He's a giant science nerd.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's one of the wreckers. Look at him in Transformer Prime.
True. That's basically a different guy, though. I love that show, but I'm also like, they just made a whole new character, basically.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about Scourge?
Yeah. How he's like every Scourge put together.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that other truck, I heard a rumor, that other, what was it, tow truck?
Yeah.
It might be combining with him, like Overlord.
Oh, that's the first time I heard that.
Okay, never heard that before either.
So you heard it first here on Children of the Primus.
Yeah, we know that the other truck is called Battle Trap, but maybe they combine. Who knows?
Yeah. So I was thinking of, because if you look at some of the shots that they showed Scourge in, it had some of the same colors of the tow truck there. So it looks like it might be forming into one vehicle. I'm sorry, into one.
Interesting. Yeah, because if his name is Battle Trap and the two of them are forming, then they've taken the Duocon concept.
Yeah. And did you see the front grille?
See the what?
Did you see his front grille? Scourge's front grille?
Oh yeah.
Truck.
People zoomed in. It's got like a ton of faction symbols on it in a way that looks like confirmed kills. Basically, it's got like Autobot logo, Maximal logo, the old mercenary logo from Siege and Earthrise.
So what they're saying, the reason why they call him Terracon, it's he's leader. He's literally like another. Oh crap! The main villain there from Agent Extinction, Lockdown.
Yeah.
But this guy doesn't collect; he kills.
Yeah.
And what he does, he actually literally brings back their logos, their symbia, and just to show that this person, this robot got killed, right? So that's why they're called Terracon, because they don't take any any hostage. Shoot first, don't ask questions.
Yeah. Well, the rumor is they might be tied to Unicron in some way, which makes sense because in Energon, the Terracons were Unicron's faction. So.
Yeah. But they're more like beasts, right? Mm-hmm. And in this particular case, it's not like that at all, right?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, exactly like Nightwing's Skyline GTR there, man. That's really nice.
Oh yeah, Nightbird. Yeah, they gave her a nice looking vehicle.
Nightbirds are. Yeah.
Somebody in the comments here pointed out earlier that while that car existed in the 90s, the body kit being used for it didn't exist in the 90s. So I guess Nightbird got a vehicle from the future.
Or he's watching Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. Which, Fast and Furious, popular movie in 1994.
Wait, was it 94?
No.
It was in 2000.
Yeah.
But that one's from Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
The one that we don't talk about in Fast and the Furious timeline.
So the time travel isn't involved in a movie. We just have to consider that.
Yeah. Time travel confirmed. All because of a car body kit.
Once they inject the DeLorean, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, they already made a gigawatt figure.
I'm gonna apologize because I'm eating here. I just got back from work.
Yeah, I've eaten on stream more times than I haven't.
I know, but usually we eat pizza, and we're still looking for a sponsor. Any pizza company out there, we're more than willing to promote your pizza, as long as you send us a box each before the show starts.
Yeah. Oh, I will do a brand deal and a half.
Yeah, Canada and the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Domino's, Papa Joe, Pizza Nova, whoever. Show us the dough.
Yeah, like the dough and the dough.
Yes.
Yep. And
they owe us royalties for us mentioning their name.
That's right.
Yeah, if only it works that way. Just be like, we said your name on stream, therefore you have to pay us.
That'd be awesome. Where's D today? He's off today.
He stepped away for a minute. He shall be back.
Okay.
We've just been like drifting in and out. I mean, at the risk of being too repetitious, did you see the stuff that was came out on Friday from the Hasbro Pulse convention they did? The new Legacy stuff?
I saw but I saw the Legacy stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So how I saw it was actually, at my work, we were hosting Fan Expo for the past couple of days.
Yeah.
It was pretty successful. I have to admit, everybody did a really good job there.
That's cool.
The only downfall, I hate saying this because, it's my work and I always like to say, we like to create lasting experience there. Mm-hmm. There weren't that many Transformers. It's a Transformer show, so there weren't that many Transformers that I saw for sale.
Wow,
dang!
Right. So the ones that I did saw. It's on my phone. Sorry, guys, but I just don't have the brain capacity to send an email to myself and download it and all that stuff.
I know that feeling.
All right. Mm-hmm. So hopefully the camera will pick it up. All right. So we have Starscream we have Grimlock, and we have Optimus Prime.
Which are those the like non-transforming figures?
That's correct.
I've seen that Optimus before. They're just like big vinyl guys.
Yeah, you know what? It's pretty cool. I wouldn't knock it. Like probably like it'd be pretty cool to put on a shelf, at work or something like that, right? Or in your office, just have a couple of them on your shelf. And that's it. But I would invest too much money on that, to be honest.
They're like casual fan display items,
right?
Bookends, right?
Yeah, like I'm always when I wasn't working from home, when I worked in the office, I'd bring like little Legends guys or non-transformable guys and decorate my desk with those. So those feel like a natural extension of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but like I said, again, I'm not knocking Fan Expo. It was a great show. It was awesome that there was tons of people. We're talking about like thousands of people showing up, which is friggin' awesome, man. Yeah. And but like I said, there was a lot of bobbleheads and those Funaki, Fuji, Fun Pop. I don't know. Those
Funko Pops.
There you go.
Yeah, there's like a ton of those for like anything.
Yeah,
I could imagine seeing a bunch of them for the Squid Games.
Exactly. They're like, you buy 5, you get 1 free.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking actually for some T-shirts. Wasn't able to score anything. I was looking around the comic books. They had a lot of comic books. It was more like a comic con versus a fan expo. In the North Building, they had a lot of what's called signees there, like a lot of actors and actresses, doing their signing. It was more of that, so just keep their, a little bit of social distance and all that stuff, right? But overall, it was a really good show, I have to admit. Not because I worked there, but it was like, it was nice that the fact that people were able to get out again and just let loose and just have a good time, just have a plain old good time.
No, that's good.
That's great to hear. Like I didn't have the spoons to go because honestly, just going to the 80s Toy Expo took a lot out of me, and I got TFCon in December. But I look forward to being able to attend Fan Expo again too, and I'm glad the first show went so well.
Yeah, it went really good. TFCon.
TFCon. Yes.
Yeah. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will be going in some capacity. I hope to have a table with the usual people I have a table with. Apparently, they've upped the cost of them, so we're just sort of talking over the logistics. But I always just take like half a table with this other guy. I go with.
How much is the table this year? How much
I will get that.
Give or take.
Let me get that information for you. Let me go into the chat thread.
Well, I mean, it would be interesting to kind of team up in some way with with whatever plans that you already have in place.
Yeah. Oof. Okay, $312 $312 a table. Bear in mind, I usually take half a table and split it with another guy to diffuse that.
So were there like a shortage of tables or something? That's why it's costing that much?
I don't know, man. I will say, like, TFCon tends to be where I make the most money doing conventions, but this year I don't know, because 80s Toy Expo like cleaned out the stuff that I was selling because I guess people were eager.
Sure, think about it. Like if you've been like cooped up all day, all night, every single day for almost the past 2 years, can't do anything, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, people were eager to do that one too. So yeah, I'll go in some capacity. I'd like to still have a table. I just learned these prices today. Got to work out the logistics.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So sorry. So what are you looking at, and like, what is your main line that you're going to be selling there? Like your Beast Wars, or just like tricking and trash hits, or what's going on?
Just like anything that I feel like phasing out of my collection, which is usually a handful of stuff. It's always recent-ish things because I don't tend to keep a lot of older stuff. some third party, some.
Is there
mainline
a problem with
generations.
older stuff?
No. God, no. I'm just saying I don't have a lot of it to sell because at this point the older stuff. At this point, the older stuff I have is just whittled down to the things I'm definitely keeping. You know what I mean?
No, I hear that for sure.
Yeah.
I guess people should really get out there and get their shot after hearing that. All you folks.
Mm-hmm.
You whittle down.
Yep. Eventually, when you just there's no function for you anymore, you just send them off to the field, just quietly.
Send to the pasture, make some glue.
A loving home. That's what I try to do.
Yes.
So, what else did you? I just want to circle back to the movie. So, what else did you hear about the movies? Any other news or what's going on?
Just those vehicles are the most recent thing. Now that we know their identities for sure. The Terracons are possibly tied into Unicron. Like we don't. Oh, Cheetor has been confirmed as being in there, so that makes the Beast Wars cast: Optimus, Air Razor, Rhinox, Cheetor, definitely. Oh, and Rat Trap.
Yeah.
Possibly some other people, but that's who's been confirmed.
Well, you know what? This is the first time where you're seeing more Autobots versus Decepticons. There's always been more of an abundance of Decepticon versus Autobots, right? So
yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
I wonder if there's going to be some sort of well, the Terracons, as they originally appeared, were an army of mass-produced drones with a few generals. So I can't help but wonder if there's some cannon fodder that we haven't seen yet.
Well, the Terracons in G1 were like a combiner, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying, if they're evoking the Energon ones, then they were drones with a couple of people leading them, kind of like beast machines. So maybe they're doing that thing where the Maximals aren't totally on their side yet. Who knows? Like, we really don't know much about the story. We know it's
apparently. Sorry, I was going to say we know that it takes place in Mexico, Peru,
and Montreal's doubling for New York.
New York, right? So we know at least those 3 locations for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of car chase scenes, for what I understand. There's a lot of battles that are happening.
Of course.
They finally confirmed that the Volkswagen is Wheeljack, which to me, again, I just, oh my god, like, doesn't anybody pick up a comic book or just go to I don't know, Google?
Well, I will say, you're all about the multiversal stuff. Legacy seems to be picking that up on purpose. All the copy and prose that comes with it talks about it being a big multiverse story.
And that's, and that's all cool and dandy. I have no problem with multi-universe, right? Funny that you mentioned that. I was just watching DC Injustice, right? And they pulled a little bit of a multi-universe in there. Again, I got no problem with that, right? But, if you look at all the multiverse to a certain degree, Wheeljack was a cool-looking car, man. It was a Ferrari, let's be honest, okay? And so it had to be a Ferrari? No, not really, but, a Volkswagen.
I will say a one of a kind rally racing car is not necessarily as great of a disguise as a Volkswagen bus is if they're trying to hide out.
The classic meme, of Optimus is like, you guys should pick just a normal looking vehicle so we can hide. So now we've got rally cars, race cars, a UFO.
Oh, I loved that. That was a short packed comic. Let me see if I can find it. But while we're talking.
Well, you know what? Could I just touch upon what you guys talked about last week a little bit? About the whole thing with Lino and
yes,
and Hot Rod there.
Actually, unless you want to wait until D comes back.
No. It's been nice and quiet and peaceful right now, man. Come on. Wow. We love you, D. We love you, D. No. Like the funny thing is that D was saying things that I want to say. The whole Star Wars reference. How the Force Ghost and Jaga there coming back as a ghost, and like Obi-Wan and so forth, right? My only point that I just wanted to make, the difference between Hot Rod and Lino was that Lionel knew already that he was destined to become a leader or the king because he came from royalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was already groomed. So he already knew that he was going to become the leader, right? It's just unfortunately came faster than it should have, right?
Right.
Hot Rod, if you look at him, it was almost like by mistake. It wasn't like planned, right? And so this is the reason why I see where Lionel taking on the mantle quicker because he accepted his destiny, whereas Hot Rod didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Luke Skywalker. If you look at Luke Skywalker at the very beginning in New Hope, he was like this, bratty little kids that always whining and complaining. And we see by the end of New Hope, he's like this hero. And he's being trained in the Force, and he understood, and he accepted that, right? And so we could see his whole storyline, which is pretty similar to Lionel. What I would say about Hot Rod, obviously we found out why he was so in doubt or questioning himself or whatever cases, right? But we also, because we knew the writers were going to be writing about Optimus Prime's return, right? But we also see later on, and that's actually in the Japanese version of the last season of the Transformers, where Hot Rod was basically becoming more and more like Bumblebee, right? Like that we see Bumblebee today, like taking on the mantle and stuff like that, right? Like he actually took the mantle after Transformer Prime, and Cyberverse he just continued that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we see Hot Rod doing that because now we see that he was under the tutelage of Optimus Prime, and then when Prime again sacrificed himself, that's when Hot Rod said, "Okay, you know what? I understand what my destiny is now." Right?
Talking about headmasters, right?
Correct. And that's when he said, "Okay, you know what? I accept my destiny now. I'm going to be that next Prime. I'm going to be the next leader, and I know what to do." It's that maturity level, and it took a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Lionel took it quicker because he knew already, whereas Hot Rod took a little longer. Obviously, some of that is because of the writers, right? But that's what I wanted to say, based on what you guys were talking about last week about that. Any comments?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea that it was pointed out to me that last week that Hot Rod never did actually say that leadership was a thing they were after. It was just sort of like foisted upon them.
Right. And so it was just the acceptance
Mm-hmm.
That was quickly done versus Lionel, and then versus Hot Rod, right? And that was my point that I wanted to make.
Yeah, because I get Lionel, not being a Thundercats guy, Lionel knew he was going to be the leader from like the start, right?
Right.
Yeah, no idea that basically going to sleep and waking up and becoming the leader right away, and instead of growing into the role. Exactly.
But the funny part is, I wish I saved this link. There was a YouTube video, and it was almost like a meme, and it was like how the Autobot movie, like the '86 movie, should have like ended or started in a sense, or basically should have ended. And all you see is Optimus Prime driving the gun, obviously, right? He had his gun. Megatron, got the gun, and then he was taking Hot Rod, by his neck, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And it just shows Optimus Prime just shooting Hot Rod's head off, right? And then next thing he's just like blasting Megatron like nonstop, right? And then you see the end, right?
Oh gosh.
Talk about Murder Prime.
Yeah. I know some of the Facebook groups would run with that and just start all sorts of arguments.
Well, that's one way we finding out if it was Hot Rod's fault or not. Right?
Hey, remember, I found out with photographic evidence that regardless of whether or not Hot Rod had interfered, Optimus would have lost that gunfight.
Yeah.
Unless if he went back. Shit. That was in 2005. The movie was currently in.
Yeah.
So he had to go to the future, wait until YouTube got created, watch that meme, and then come back into the future. Go back in the past and then do that.
Which I pose a question to both of you. Have you both watched? Actually, which version would that have been? I guess the last Avengers movie, the Endgame. Yeah. So the scene where Thor goes back in time and speaks with his mom, and then realizes that he could get Mjolnir back. So the question is, the Thor in that time frame, does he just like suddenly realize that Mjolnir is missing?
It's a good question. That movie was full of things like that.
Like I just thought of this the other day. I'm like, okay, he's smart enough to realize if he's back in time, he can go back and get his hammer. But then, the Thor in that time just lost his hammer and didn't even realize it.
Maybe that's another plot of a what if.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like maybe I'll take flack for it, but like I wasn't always the biggest fan of Endgame just because it had a lot of great moments, but the story was just full of weird things like that.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. I would love to see a Transformer Shattered Glass / What If.
Yeah, well, I mean? Like they did exactly one, and it was what if Optimus hadn't died in the '86 movie. It was a one-shot comic because IDW did a whole bunch of what ifs for different things that it owned, and it was not very good.
Okay.
I've read it. It just like it wasn't a bad idea. It was just poorly executed because the writer just like felt like the writer didn't like the movie cast, so he like wrote them as being like not great, and then they all got killed.
Well, I mean it kind of failed in a sense of you've taken on a project that you really don't like, so as a result, like as you said, it really didn't come out that well because I mean, like, well, the person behind it didn't really put that effort into it in terms of it's almost like they hated it.
Yeah, what was the name of that guy? I want to call that author out because I know he had a couple other things that were questionable. The name of it was Transformers Deviations.
I see.
Okay.
No, but even if they did even a Shattered Glass version.
Oh my God! It was Brandon Easton. This is the guy that wrote a lot of Siege, the cartoon.
Oh,
that explains a lot, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is also the guy that wrote the new Mask comic that nobody liked either.
Wow.
Let's not talk about comic books because comic books has gone really bonkers. And some of the recasts and storylines that they just want to do. Yeah. I guess through that saying, you go woke, you go broke.
Wow, that's what was it in one? I think in CB4. I think either CB4 or another movie. I believe Fear of the Black Hat. It was kind of the same thing of if you want to be like revolutionary rappers, you can go over to that record label because like they make no money. But if you just want to rap about stupid stuff and and just go around dancing on stage, then come sign over here.
No, it's true. It's true.
It is.
Like MC Hammer, right? The thing is this, and I'm tying it back to Transformer, where they're changing the vehicle modes to like these famous figures that we grew up with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, is there any reason why you have to change it?
Yeah, well, I think it's a pretty cromulent narrative change with Wheeljack by changing him into a disguise that makes sense. I even found that short packed comic that was making fun of it, where Wheeljack says, "I transform into a race car, but my kind has markings which match only one specific real-life vehicle from another continent." That's why.
No, No, like, you know what? It's, again, I'm gonna go on that rant, of saying have iconic car, iconic figure, right? It's supposed to go together. I don't want to go on that rant because it's like we're always talking about it, right? But it's just this whole thought process that people are going through and say, hey, how can we just change? It's not like, hey, how can we do things a little bit different, or how we could change things just to make it a little bit better, or whatever case. It's like, hey, let's just change everything and fuck it. You know what I mean? Let's just, and I just don't. I just don't understand. It'd be nice if you could just please some of your loyal customers, throw them a freaking bone, and just give us something that we're gonna cheer for, right?
Well, I was gonna say, it's one thing. There's a way to take both new and old and make it work, because you can have like a bunch of new concepts or a new way of delivering things, but you still have to hold on to the concept of quality. And they recently did an article on the person who's now the head of Netflix, and I only had a chance to read half of the article, but basically when Netflix came out, all the other studios, were on the top of their game, and they see Netflix coming along, and they're like, oh, who's this little Netflix streaming service? And this is kind of like, kids play, whatever. But the guy who's running it, surprisingly, he said, the shows that we sign on exclusively for Netflix, we deal with those actors, writers, and directors as if they were Avengers movies. And the minute he said that, I'm like, he gets it. And it's the difference why Transformers movies have fallen apart and why Avengers movies have been just killing it for almost for like at least 10 years. It's like, now I've got this Netflix that everyone thought was a little play toy, but now I've got like these shows that are quality. Let me put that quality into these shows, or let me work with writers and directors that are giving me quality, and let me focus on them. And now like all the studios and production companies, now they fear Netflix, because like Netflix is now on the top of everyone's game. And it's like, take the quality and just keep it there. Don't just write nonsense and throw it out there expecting people to buy into it, because like we don't want it.
I think this is why I'm willing to give things like changing Wheeljack's vehicle mode and Rise of the Beasts a go, because I think if it's written for the sake of a quality movie, it'll make sense. And I'm sort of giving it the benefit of the doubt because they're coming off of Bumblebee, which was good, and Stephen Caple Jr. makes everything of his I've seen, which is admittedly not too much, but like he made a good Creed movie, so he's batting a track record in my book, and Anthony Ramos is a good actor, and he's the lead guy, so I don't want to put the horse ahead of the cart because we haven't seen the movie. Maybe it would be a mess, but like thus far between this and the previous movie, it seems like they're putting out something that's quality. So I feel like if changing his vehicle mode would serve that, then that's not a bad thing.
No, well, I'm not going to disagree with that, Anthony. If it goes with the story and it makes logic to it, fine, fantastic, right? But my whole thing is that you look at it overall and you want to see something that you remember, or something that you enjoyed growing up. Some of that nostalgic, and we talked about it. I get it when Transformers first came out, like Transformer 1, the movie came out. There was a lot of big deal with Optimus Prime having a mouth, right? But they kind of corrected it after, right? Because when he got into battle mode, it covered his mouth, and I get that, right? I see stuff like that, I don't mind. But like Mirage, they had to make him into a Porsche. People are going to get upset about that.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
it's the same thing. They made him into a Porsche because you're not going to see a Formula One racer driving down the streets of Chicago looking inconspicuous.
And you're absolutely correct, right?
Yeah.
But they could have gave him another vehicle mode, right?
Mhm.
Another sporting vehicle mode. The same thing even with Wheeljack. You didn't have to give him a how do I say it? A Ferrari, right? But they
Mhm.
could have gave him probably maybe like I don't know, more like a truck, like a Bronco or something like that kind of thing, for Explorer, Jeep Cherokee, whatever,
Mhm.
right? Like more of a utility vehicle, put it that way, because it's full of utilities, right?
Mhm.
So if you want to be not recognized and staying in the low, right, transforming into a utility vehicle would have helped him big time, right? Now, and that goes back to what Mike said as well too. Like now, okay, we're gonna excuse me. So we're considering this movie as Bumblebee 2.
Yeah.
Okay, but is it also going to be in line with the Michael Bay universe?
Nobody knows officially. I'm tempted to think it's not because
Okay,
just because
so
Bumblebee divorced itself pretty thoroughly.
right. So going on that, let's just say they did a divorce, and it's
Mhm.
still part of the Bay universe. Then even though we had Q, but the funny part is in the movies, like on his, I think on his box or box things like that, he was still referred as Wheeljack.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit of a gray area because his toy was canceled if in North America, and the North American box called him Wheeljack, but it
Right.
did come out in Japan, and in the Takara packaging, it called him Q.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of a gray area there because, like nothing that wound up getting released actually called him Wheeljack. He was called Q the entire time. It was the same with Dino slash Mirage. Like,
Right.
he finally got a studio series figure, and that was called Dino. Nothing that came out actually called him Mirage. So
And that's the other part that I kind of wanted to mention, right? So it's
yeah,
like, what are they doing here? Like they got to make some kind of, I don't want to say some kind of announcement, but some kind of hint or clue saying, hey, you know what? This movie is on its own universe,
mm-hmm.
or we just basically rebooted the whole movie, like the whole
Yep.
Transformer, right?
I wouldn't mind an answer to that myself. The guy that runs the show, Lorenzo de Bonaventura, the
Yeah.
producer, has been like really vague about it. I think he's trying. I think they're just trying not to alienate audiences that might not show up if it wasn't a Bayverse movie. That's me spitballing though.
Well, hmm, I don't know. The only thing we say, we're gonna have to wait on and find out when it comes out, right?
Yeah, I mean, thus far they seem to be doing everything right in my books. And hey, we saw this version of Wheeljack at the beginning of the Bumblebee movie, and he looked pretty G1. So
Hmm.
we don't know
I
what his
like.
robot mode.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, would they even mention, take the time to mention it and just let the fans figure it out? Because I mean, the X-Men Days of Future Past, they
Yeah,
never mentioned anything. Like you basically found out at the end of the movie what was happening.
yeah.
Well, here's the funny part. So what Marvel did, which I thought it was genius on their part, they're saying to themselves, "Listen, okay, now we bought Fox, right? They're a working collaboration with Sony's Pictures, with their Marvel superheroes that they were producing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they all did. Okay, first of all, did any of you watch Venom 2?
No, I haven't seen it.
No, not yet.
Okay, I'm not gonna try to spoil it here, but what I like about Marvel, what they've done is that they've created these little series on Disney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, to kind of correct a lot of the questions that everybody has, like, what are you gonna do with X-Men? What are you gonna do with Spider-Man, Venom, and Deadpool? How are you gonna bring them into the Marvel universe and stuff like that, right? And slowly they've been doing that. Okay. And I don't want to spoil Venom for you guys. So watch it. And then we'll talk about that after. What I'm trying to say is it would have been nice if Transformers. Actually, you know what? Let me I'm gonna backpedal a little bit. Star Wars, what they've been doing through their comic books have been adding a lot of the stories to answer a lot of questions in the Star Wars universe, right? Like, for example, if you remember Luke Skywalker figure, it came with a yellow lightsaber.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the comic books, they actually show how Luke Skywalker ends up getting a yellow lightsaber, as an example.
Okay.
Okay. And so it would have been nice to see if Transformers can do something similar to that. Where to me, I thought Siege, that whole, trilogy that Netflix did, I was kind of hoping that would have answered maybe some of the questions of Bayverse or whatever the case is, right? Or in Bumblebee universe, right? But that did not happen. They just went the other way, right? So it would be nice if Hasbro took that same kind of position and say, hey, you know what? Let's make these little episodes, or let's make these little series. Let's make these comic books or whatever cases that can tie in and start answering a lot of questions, right?
Well, the thing is, actually, Anthony, you go ahead.
I was going to say they had that going on for a little while there with the movies. Until about Dark of the Moon. John Barber used to write movie comics whose goal it was to just explain all the stuff.
And see, you kind of touched on an idea that I'm going with is the problem why Hasbro hasn't gone that direction is Hasbro's basically a toy company, so their mindset is just buy licensed toys, sell toys, and just basically just sell toys. Marvel, on the other hand, their whole concept is comic books. So in order for Hasbro to correct all of these mistakes, they would need to hire a Marvel company, or some type of writers to come in and give it that comic book mindset of correcting storylines. Because you take a toy company, hire a bunch of writers and directors who don't have that comic book mindset, they're just going to create a movie. And it's well, we've got a bunch of characters. Let's just write something together, call it a movie. If it works and we make enough money, we'll just do the same thing, make part 2, call it a movie. Whereas Marvel is well, no, we have characters and their characters are tied in with other characters, tied in with other characters, tied in with other storylines. In order for us to explain one character, we have to explain all the other characters, all the other movies, and we're still in that comic book mindset. So, so that's why it works for Marvel. It doesn't work for a toy company.
Sure it can. And I'll tell you why.
It could, but the toy company then has to hire. They have to hire a comic book person for it to make sense.
But they did. But they did. How did Transformers get famous?
Well, no, in the first sense, not recently. Yeah, in the So in the G1 time when they were tied in with Marvel, for the cartoon and the comics, that's what worked. In the recent decade, they didn't go that direction. That's why it doesn't work.
And so we're kind of proving my point here, because why did they sell these toys in the first place? Because of the comic book and the cartoon. Sorry, comic book cartoon. There we go.
So they forgot that somehow.
There you go, and that's the point that I'm getting at, because they did this already. They had a successful formula, and now they just totally threw it away. And it's like what we said last time, is that you got your peak of valleys when you have these interests into Transformers, right? So if there's no promotion, there's nobody talking about no cartoon series, then you see a lack of sales or of Transformers or creating new lines or whatever cases, or they're just reissuing reissues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if they still want to create that winning formula that they had at the very beginning, I just don't understand why they don't continue to do that. And you can create new characters as well too. And if you create new characters, that means you're creating new toys and for people to buy. And let's face it, we bought the G1s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who bought the G2s? Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And my son, that's when Transformers came out, that was kind of like my son's age to a certain degree. But what happened? Anthony was very lucky. He got Beast War as well too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How happy were you?
Extremely.
Oh, there you go. So, but imagine if you keep on saying Optimus Prime, Optimus Prime, Optimus Prime, Megatron, 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 Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many times you could buy that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if they had just continued that logic or that formula, we could have whole new characters, whole new generation, whole new everything, and I think would be a little bit more, interest in that multiverse or new verse or any verse or whatever verse.
So you're saying instead of a movie starring Generation 1 characters with different alternate modes, you'd rather have a movie starring an entirely new cast of robots?
You know what? If it works, why not? They can always talk about G1. They can always reference to G1 like how Beast Wars did, right? But if you're just constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again, come on. See, I'll give you an example. With Transformer Prime, yeah, they use the same formula to a certain degree. You had Prime, you had what's called Bumblebee, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But then you also had new characters in there as well too, right? And those new characters were coming, and then at the same time, they also brought a couple of familiar faces. So they had a nice balance, and that's why I personally like Transformer Prime. We saw D. What happened to D? He's walking around again.
He'll be back.
He's going for another walk. We got to take him out once in a while.
It's important to get him lots of fresh air and exercise.
Mm-hmm.
or else he'll show up as Cobra Commander.
I got a funny feeling that's what's going to end up happening.
I've just been noodling around with Kingdom Rhinox to change them to Rhino and back.
So here's my question to you guys. Have you seen the prices now for, like, speaking of Optimus Prime, have you seen the price that he's going for right now on Amazon?
With the transforming one, or which Optimus?
Optimus Kingdom.
No.
Is this the Earthrise one specifically, like the Kingdom re-release of it?
Yeah. Well, not re-release, but it's like the original package and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
$92.
Well, which class of figures at? We're talking about like the leader class one.
Yeah, the one that comes with the trailer and everything.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a markup.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were selling those at what, at $69 originally?
Yeah, 70.
Right? Now it's $92 and
Yeah.
higher.
I feel like those are like aftermarket sellers rather than the actual standard price of the guy.
You know what? I don't have that particular Prime, and I actually want it because I really like it. Yeah. And I've been scouring everywhere, even on Children of Primus. Our classified site. Did we plug that?
We have now.
There we go. We have a classified site. People use it. It's free. What's wrong with you? Or don't use it, like what D will say.
Yes.
That's right. I'm giving you the finger. The pointy finger.
We will have one show where we focus primarily on the website.
Mm-hmm.
That is long overdue.
Well, have we... it's a dumb question. I should know this already. But Anthony, with your reviews, have you been getting a good, reply and response and feedbacks?
I get a few comments. I post on Twitter and in a couple of Discord groups and on Facebook, and I get a little bit of engagement here and there. I know that people are reading them, is what I'm saying.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, they're great articles, right? So.
Well, I would say, I mean, since we've been sharing the articles around, I know there's you have been picking up a few more readers within the last few months.
Yeah. That's why I'm sort of happy that I write my new things on Monday, but then I repost older things I've written on Fridays, and I like that because it means that people actually that haven't seen them before get eyeballs on them. So
I like it.
Yeah, giving the older articles new life.
Yeah, because I was saying we had a commenter here a few times. Reed Hastings. Oh yeah, that's the Netflix guy. A commenter here who does retro YouTube reviews. It's in their name, and I'm like, I like those. I tend to write a lot about the new things because I write about what I pick up, but I almost find retro reviews more interesting because they're not just talking about the new thing that came out. They're talking about stuff just for the sake of its own interest. Sometimes I like that more.
Well, I find when I'm looking up all the retro stuff, there's like little things that I didn't notice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, now I get it. Now I see. Versus the new thing, it's like you watch a video or you read an article. You're okay, cool. I'll wait until it gets up.
Yeah, I remember a recent review I did. In fact, where's the actual figure? Oh, it's over here. On last Monday, I think I reviewed Generation Selects Transmutate. Oh, I just dropped a part of it. I'm gonna grab it here to talk about this. And
that's our Halloween figure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Freaky looking thing.
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah. So like a skeletal lady. And I was pointing out that like it's got this like cone sword thing for her hand, and I was like, I'm not the biggest fan of this, and like one of the reasons was because I was like, you can't store it anywhere. And then I posted my review on a Discord group, and like maybe half an hour later, somebody got back to me and it was like, did you know there's a secret place where you can stash it on the back of her shoulder? And I was like, that changes everything. So I like really quickly put an addendum on and like took a picture on my phone and threw it up there too. And I was like, nope. Actually, you can stash it. So in some ways, when you're reviewing older figures like that, you're more likely to run into things that nobody noticed when they were new and people were just like getting the new figures and putting them out there, So that's cool. Yeah, knowing's half the battle.
There you go.
Yeah, and like a lot of older even the Transformers wiki is good for that, because sometimes when there's older figures and they do their little write-ups about them, like the little couple of paragraphs, they'll talk about like things nobody noticed back in the day.
Well, I was going to say, recently someone shared a video of Decepticon, the Decepticon Justice League.
Oh,
Decepticon Justice Division.
Yes, the DJD, and there's actually, I watched one video, and the suggestions gave me a second video. So between both videos, it was actually a very well informative information on the whole division, on who they were, and it's quite interesting. Like I can see why people actually liked that, like those handful of characters.
I would love to see those guys. I would have loved to see those guys with Terracons.
There's a rumor.
Transformers.
Hey, you remember how I always say Cyberverse is a good show and more people should watch it and nobody's watching it? It did its 3 seasons and it was finished, but it's getting a 4th season and there's going to be a few extra episodes on Netflix. And we have the descriptions of them. Tarn, the leader of the Decepticon Justice Division, is going to appear in one of them.
Oh, now, wow.
The question is, are they going to... Then again, I would say, considering Netflix, especially the reference I made, they don't hold back on on certain things, because from what one of the videos was saying, the reason the reason the division wasn't really focused on is because of their violent nature.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I'd say that right now. Cyberverse is an all ages show. It's a good show, but it's like it's not like Siege and Earthrise and Kingdom. It's like meant for all ages. So we're not gonna see like people getting sliced in half or tortured or anything. They're not about
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm fearing. I'm like, they're gonna kind of water Tarn down, because from what they showed of them, I'm like, this is rated triple R. Like,
Yeah. But no,
I wish.
I was a fan of that comic. I read the whole thing
Yeah.
front to back a few times, and I don't think I think that you can preserve the essence of those guys without having it be like ludicrous robo violence the whole time. Because the point of Tarn in particular was that he was like an actual
voice.
true dyed in the wool loyalist who like more so even than Soundwave. This guy like quoted Megatron's book that he wrote all the time, and like
to the Bible as they were describing it.
yeah.
Well,
like,
look at his mask.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was an interesting character, and they were an interesting group. And I don't think, and people come for the ridiculous, violent aspect of them, but at least me and others, like they stayed for the way the team is written. So I think they could make the transition to safer television and still keep their interesting bits intact.
Well, I mean, but sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I would love to see those guys in a live action movie. Maybe that could be Transformers' first rated R movie.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll make it
Like
to
Deadpool.
Maybe they'll make it to the silver screen eventually if they're following this pipeline. First they were in the comic, now at least one of them is going to be on the cartoon. Maybe the films will follow. They one of their even with Rise of the Beast and even the Strength of the Bay movies was they were willing to sample from other media. So
Was TF Collect said that Cyberverse is so underrated, such a good show, better than War for Cybertron by far.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he also says Tarn-like character is called the perfect Decepticon, I believe. And I guess go ahead.
Those have already, because this is spoilers, I guess, but in the third season, Megatron does create some perfect Decepticons, and they look like Tarn, right? Like from More Than Meets the Eye straight up, but they're not like literally him. It's just like sort of an Easter egg because they copied his design, right? But like the summary for the new Netflix episodes does name Tarn specifically. So like his design might have appeared on the show, but now the character itself actually will.
Oh, I can't wait.
Nice. Because I was gonna. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say that would make sense as an origin for him in the Cyberverse universe if he was one of the Decepticons created specifically by Megatron.
Interesting. And I was going to say, I mean, even before, actually, that's kind of during, like as the Marvel was slowly, creating like their whole. The entire engine they have running now, when Fox was still doing the X-Men movies, X-Men movies were kind of like the safe go-to, but then they created Logan. Whereas like Logan was Logan was the violent movie. That's what the Decepticon Justice Division would be.
Yeah. I always I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent about Marvel movies because I'm not in them as much as they used to be. But I did like that era because like Fox was only making X-Men movies because they didn't want to lose the license, right? Because that deal was like you had to make one every few years or else Marvel got it back. So I feel like we only got like Deadpool and Logan and all those things because they were like, just make a movie. We got to make a movie. Just do whatever you want. You want to make it R-rated? All right, sure, go. We just need to keep putting these out. So, yeah. So I was like, I liked that era because they were just throwing everything against the wall, and it turned out really well because of it.
Yeah, it's true. So I mean, but yeah, that's like they would be a movie in itself, So again, it's like taking that comic book concept and just creating different storylines and then and tying in different characters. Like they would need their own movie.
Yeah. And I could see them showing up. Like, maybe they bail Megatron out of the ice in this version, if he's still in the ice. He might not even be in the ice. I've heard him described as being in Schrodinger's iceberg right now, in terms of the new movies.
Oh boy.
Because it's like, is he frozen in ice inside the Hoover Dam? Depends. Depends on whether they make a commitment to this being a new universe or keep dancing around that fact. They certainly did. They certainly did let Shatter and Dropkick just go into the Hoover Dam without much concern. So maybe he's not there.
Well, I was gonna say, was there any hint on in terms of Unicron, like the storyline on Unicron for the newer movie?
Nah, just like a rumor that the Terracons might be related to him somehow.
Okay. Like, as long as they don't make a Earth Unicron again, like I'll be happy with that.
That was not a bad idea. I just think it was bad execution. Transformers Prime did it pretty well. Because it solved the problem of, like, if you want to do a story that's earthbound and like has humans and things, how do you make Unicron work? Who's like a space planet that menaces Cybertron? Do you have the space planet menace Earth? Do you turn it into this other thing? So I thought Unicron being inside the Earth was a good way of solving that and keeping it like earthbound while still having the character there. So it's kind of yeah.
The age-old question is always, how is it possible that these Transformers always end up in Earth? From G1 to the movies to whatever, right?
Yep.
Right, and I'm glad that you mentioned about Transformer Prime, how they made Unicron Earth, right?
Yeah.
And I think they did a really good job, and that kind of answers that question to a certain degree, right? So now I know, right, that all these things were happening. Why? Because Unicron is Earth. Yeah. And I actually like that. I really do, because if you remember in his whole battle with Primus, is that Primus either he threw him in the dark universe and he was trapped in there, or he put him in a dormant status, right?
Yep.
And that's why Primus ended up going into a dormant status as well too, and transforming into Cybertron, right? So that's a really good connection with Unicron being Earth. I actually like that.
Yeah, I was a fan. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they did that again as an angle, if they're just gonna bring him back just because of how much sense it made from a story perspective.
Well, in the Bay universe, in the last film, the whole Horns of Africa.
Yeah.
Right.
And you saw like that hornish thing that came out, right? On the beaches there, or in that area. That was supposed to be a reference to Unicron, because Quintessa basically said he doesn't like when you touch him or do that or whatever that quote was, right?
Yeah. Well, they did straight up say he's inside the Earth. They just didn't do much with it because they were obviously saving it for another movie that didn't get made. Yeah. But I wouldn't mind them doing that again.
So if you were the writer, I got food in my mouth. Sorry, guys. I'm eating a chocolate.
Nice, not the rapper.
No. But you know what? In case anybody has their whiskey shot, get ready. Thrust. That's part of the drinking game that we have here at Children of Primus, right? Every time we mention thrust, you got to take a shot.
Or just show thrust.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
Mike. Our great minds think alike.
There you go.
If you were the writer for this one, because we're all speculating with this movie, right?
Yeah.
We heard some rumors and some spoilers, which I don't want to get into now because I think it's still a little early. They're just showing the figures. I think I gave one spoiler already, right? So, or a prediction. But if you guys were writing this movie, what would your plot, or what would you like to see in this particular movie? Dee will say, over to you.
Well, I'd like to see the Maximals still being from the future, but having taken the slow path to the present day. Like, they're from the future, they got sent into the past, and now they woke up in 1994. I wouldn't mind seeing the Terracons be related to Unicron, but I wouldn't actually have Unicron be the main threat. I'd like to see proper acknowledgement that this was its own story. Like, Megatron is not here. He's not on Earth. The Allspark's not here. We're not after that. This is its own thing. Which, they sort of did in Bumblebee, but I'd like to make it even more explicit. I don't know. It's a very blank slate in terms of what I do.
So you're almost kind of going like with Kingdom there. What about you, Mikey?
I'd say rewrite everything and just make it identical word for word as G1. I'm joking.
You don't want to hear Optimus. You don't want to hear that.
Yeah. Sorry.
You don't want to hear Optimus.
I think really it's just sitting down and just collecting all the different ideas and just making it make sense. Like that's the only thing that I would that I would do in terms of a rewrite, but then also not making it one movie focused. Having the ability for a storyline to branch out. So the same fault that G1 had, correct that fault, and you have like your movie story, but it's within an overall story. And the overall story makes sense and and connects to other characters and just gives you a more in-depth just a better connection to and in-depth of everything that's happening and instead of just hoping it's going to work.
Okay, but you didn't really answer my question.
Right, okay, ask it again.
I'll pull it a D here.
Yeah.
What's it called? Mike. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. I'm just kidding. So if you were going to write this, okay, so it's all speculation, right? What we're doing right now about this movie coming out. If you were the writer of this movie, let's just say, how would you write this movie? Or how would you how would you envision this movie?
God, I'll tell you why I should not be a writer of this movie, because I would go mad with power, and is like Ravette, and like would make nothing but constant deep cut references to the Beast Wars TV show, like every line of dialogue. Like,
see, that's exactly it. Exactly what you would do is kind of like what I would end up doing, and that's why it's like I really would need a team of all the different universes and variations to work together, because then it's like I'll end up writing out Beast Wars and then just making it like all G1 and just upsetting everyone.
I just need a team of writers to tell me no.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be like, what's the point of this movie if we don't have all the original voice actors? And Scott McNeil played 4 people. We can bring him in, and that's paid for itself. And
yeah, I agree.
So I'm like, we're gonna have a 10-minute sequence in the middle of this, just Rat Trap and Dinobot arguing with each other, unbroken, one take.
Nice.
Just stop the movie. I shouldn't be allowed to direct any media. It would be a disaster. I would like it, and like 2 other people would like it, and it would make $0.
As strange as that is, there's one director where he created a socially conscious movie, and he came with the idea of basically explaining how people are damaging the Earth, and within it. It's almost hard not to laugh, but it's like because of people damaging the Earth, the birds started attacking the people as a reaction.
You talking about freaking Birdemic?
Isn't there a movie called The Birds?
Yes, Birdemic. Have you watched it?
No, but I've seen enough internet reviews of it that I feel like I've gotten my fill.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's it's such a bad movie, part 1 and 2, that you end up watching it multiple times because you know exactly the thought and ideas of where the director was going with the movie. But it actually created its own cult following that people were renting out theaters watching this movie. And I think just last year, the main girl in the movie, she was casted in, or sorry, last year a bunch of guys recreated a scene and kind of fixed up all the digital work from the original movie and actually called the main girl in the movie to redo a scene. And they actually turned one of the attack birds into like this large transforming bird who's like now a humanoid.
It almost sounds like Sharknado.
Yeah,
Exactly. So I mean, so it's funny enough. So you say like, only 2 people enjoy it, but then look at Sharknado, like, these movies that are terrible, but yet every single person has watched it and knows of it.
I think I would take more of this movie on a journey where it's almost like a video game where you're just like getting higher and higher, like you're completing each level and you're facing a bigger boss. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Until you finally reach Megatron, right? Just have a couple more, Transformer shows, and then you finally reach Megatron. Like Megatron comes out of the blue, and then he just starts going, "Okay, Prime, now."
Well,
There's only could be one, right? And just go like an all-out war kind of movie, and then bring some of the, like a really cool, nostalgic, what's called characters in there, and some of the new characters kind of thing. I would love to see Shockwave in there.
Yeah,
I would like to see one movie just Shockwave, just friggin' just like going nuts on all the Autobots. You know what I mean? Like terrorizing.
Shockwave needs his own movie. Like he does. Real character, but you just kind of explained it. I mean, once you said video games, you're kind of going back in the old school comic book mindset, where it's like, in the first movie you're introduced to the one boss, but there's still an overall concept that there's many other bosses to come. So it's like you've gotten one story, but there's an overall plot that's going to take multiple movies to get to.
And then Unicron is like the final boss after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the end game.
Yeah, that's the end game right there. Where Unicron just says, "Listen, man, you people drive me nuts."
Yeah. You annoying insects.
Exactly. And he pulls like one of those, in Transformer Prime where he kind of like takes Megatron husk and use it as a vessel, right? And reformats him. I would like to see that. Something like that I would like to see. And again, you can introduce new characters that way as well too. And put out a really good toy where you're like, you know what, this is a really cool character. I really like this. Like I'm gonna get it, right? And then that's how you start picking interest again, right?
I would write, since this movie is going to be partially set, was it New York, Brooklyn? I forget. That zone, and Rat Trap's going to be in it. Hi, Calvin. I would write him as a gigantic sewer rat that people have made urban legends about, and then they stumble across him and find that he's been a Maximal all along.
Nice.
I'd also make him just like repugnant. Like I'd have him voiced by Danny DeVito or something if I couldn't get Scott McNeil, because I'm like, he is already a New Yorker. That's his character, and he's just this like nasty cursing rat person. So
Danny DeVito Rat Trap, that's perfect.
Yeah, I say this with affection. He's Jess's character, so favorite character. And also he always wins and was the most effective Maximal on the show. And so I'd probably wind up Mary suing him in my version of the movie and making him just ludicrously good at everything.
Yeah. If not him, borderline Joe Pesci.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Joe Pesci's probably a better choice in terms of that attitude. Just be like, look, here's a list of the Transformers equivalents of swearing. You have to say these instead. Yes. Just like they did on Beast Wars all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just prime.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I totally agree. But the funny thing is, see, I would get the Decepticon Justice League. I get those guys. Sorry, Division, and I get those guys. I'll make them like pure mafia guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a good
Oh,
way
yeah.
of writing them.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, if I was gonna that's smart. If I was gonna like put him in a cartoon where I wasn't allowed to be super violent, like if it was like a Batman the Animated Series type deal, I'd be like, yeah, write them as mob goons. That is a good way to instantly communicate what their deal is to the audience, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I guess we're gonna have to break a couple of legs here, boys.
Yeah,
Mhm.
basically.
You know? And then you have Tarn. Then you have Tarn. You think I'm funny?
Yeah.
Any other character would be like, whatever. I've had broken legs. And like, yeah, not by these guys. Like,
there you go. And they have their dog.
Just write a like you could write a scene where they're taking like a race car transformer and like pulling his wheels off, and that's a way to do it non-violently.
Oh gosh.
So
yes.
here's my question to you guys.
Tire by tire.
I know.
Yeah.
Would you want to see like a rated R Transformer movie where it's just strictly all Decepticons just causing like mayhem?
No. Every time they've tried to go R-rated in Transformers, I feel like it's not been good.
When have they ever did that?
Mostly in comics, you know.
Actually, I would say when the G2 line of comics came out, that one it actually kind of shocked me because at the time they weren't connected with I believe either with Hasbro or Marvel, that they were allowed to let loose of their of like their guideline restrictions. And it's like now you've got like Transformers like just killing each other in like the first issue and committing suicide to protect themselves. And I'm like, it was a really dark comic, but they did it really well.
Well, the only dark comic that I remember is obviously Shockwave, my man. You know, Kill 'Em All there, and live action Dark Side of the Moon, right? And let's face it, that was the best one so far when it comes to live action.
Yeah, when all the Decepticons were I mean, there was probably like hundreds of Decepticons within that scene, and it's like they just let loose and were just killing.
See what happened to all the humans when they just got like all disintegrated.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah.
Like if that's not R-rated alone.
That was fantastic, man. Oh, we got Calvin here.
Well, Calvin is so first he says,
go back.
Yeah, what up, everyone? I got found Shadow Panther and Gnaw at my Target store. And what else did he say? And what are your thoughts on a new Transformers movie? Wheeljack is a truck now instead of his original car form.
Calvin, no, I'm fine with it. Just don't get that guy started. I think it is a fine decision for the character.
Calvin.
I'm on both sides, but I do like the essence of Wheeljack and that vehicle. It works. It actually works.
Calvin for a first time. I did a bit of a rant already. All I'm going to say is this. If he's going to be this, guy that's the MacGyver of Transformers there, of that group, then at least make him into like a utility vehicle, right? That you see like, public work vehicles that are fixing like, the light poles or whatever cases, right? They got the ladders and box and all that kind of shit in there. I would have been cool with that. I would have been cool. Honestly to God, I would have been cool with that. But a Volkswagen friggin' van, like, come on, man.
I've just shared the comic that we keep referencing.
Yeah. And I'll leave it at that, Kelvin. You're gonna have to rewatch my.
Oh yes. Yo.
Had to read this out. Okay, Autobots, we've crash landed on this Earth planet. We need to transform into ordinary native vehicles so that the humans don't suspect we are actually alien robots from space. I transform into a Formula One racing vehicle. Well, Mirage, I guess if you stay off the streets, you'll be fine. I also transform into a race car, but mine kind of has markings which match only one specific real-life vehicle from another continent. Great, thanks, Wheeljack. Look, doesn't anybody transform into a sedan or something? I'm Cosmos. I transform into a UFO.
Like I can hear him in his head just saying Vector Sigma.
Yeah.
See, when his eye closes like that, you know it's time Murder Prime is.
Yeah, like straight up. Yep. That's the Murder Prime look.
He's having a Murder Prime moment right there.
Yeah. This guy ended this comic years ago, but it was really good. Like he had a proper story with characters, but then he'd just stop and like do things about like Transformers and Batman and stuff, and it was like this.
Oh, okay.
Name of the comic was Short Packed.
Okay, are we gonna get like copyright on this?
I don't think
we're
so.
okay. I don't think so.
The guy that writes, the guy.
Well, you know what? What's his name? What's that guy's name again?
David Willis. He's also the guy that owns the Transformers wiki.
Okay, so David Willis.
Yeah.
You can use our site for free. We have a classified site you can use for free. And whatever you want to sell, comic books, Transformers, movies, your store, whatever you can use it for free. Okay? There you go.
Yes. His current comic is called Dumbing of Age, and it's about people in college, and it's worth a read.
Interesting. Okay.
It's been going for like 10 years now, so it's long, but it's worth it. But it's he's nice. He's very prolific. He puts out a strip every day. So.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Guy has a ridiculous work ethic on top of running the Transformers wiki. So
he owns Transformer Wiki.
Yeah, he's the guy that pays to keep the lights on. You know.
Wow, that's actually a really good website. Like for reference, I have to admit, I've learned a lot from going to his site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and just looking up on stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's a team effort these days, but like he very much spearheaded it originally. You know. Like Chris McFeely there, the guy that did the Transformers basics, he like retired from doing wiki stuff, but like before that he was one of the main guys writing stuff there, which explains why he makes that show now.
Oh, that show's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was Tidal Wave that was up the last one that I saw.
Yeah, like
what's his name again?
Chris McFeely.
That's the person who did the DJD video.
Yeah. He's very soothing to listen to. He has this like Irish UK accent, and he always talks really calmly. And one time I was sleeping and I put one of those on and I passed out to it. So
yeah, so it was between him and Bobby Skullface. Yeah, between the both of them, they like watching both of them is kind of like a well-rounded storyline of understanding those characters.
Yeah. And Chris McFeely's done Q&As, and it's funny because he says he's like, I'm not trying to go 100% in depth. I'm trying to encourage people to look at like the wiki and learn more after I give them literally the basics.
Nice. Okay. You know, here's a little bit, but go do your research.
Yeah.
Here, let's give them
wow, that is
a quick plug here.
Let's say Professor D says regarding Wheeljack, you guys are all forgetting that in the first episode of the cartoon, his Cybertron mode is basically a minivan.
You know what? He has a point.
This is true.
It's like they knew in advance what he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
Oh, Chris McFeely? Yeah. Basics on Tidal Wave was just his most recent video. And that's like an obscure guy. That's a Unicron trilogy guy.
Okay.
It's what's called a really great. Yeah, you know what? When I just like I'm like you, like when I'm at work or something like that, and I'm just like want some noise in the background. I usually watch one of his. Yeah, I watch one of his videos, but the funny part is, I actually start listening. Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Wow, cool. Right.
That's why I just watch like Let's Plays or music in the background when I'm working because I'm like, I don't want to pay attention to this. I got stuff to do.
Yeah. You start losing track of what you're working on. I'm like, oh, okay, let me watch this.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to do a basics on hubcap. Then it'll be complete. And hey, he's done obscure character months in the past, so it could happen.
You should ask him.
Yeah, he does what's called Patreon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
Patreon request Transformer Basic, whatever case is, right?
Well, there you go. If there's somebody he hasn't covered yet, after you subscribe to our Patreon, then you should subscribe to his.
Exactly. Yes. Who's this baby? Like, who's this Bobby Scarface? Like D, like is in love with this guy.
I'm not super familiar with him. I've only seen a couple of his videos. He just does a lot of reviews and does roundtable discussions, mostly about third-party stuff. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff. I'm just vaguely aware of him. He's called that because I guess as a longtime YouTuber from a different time period, he never shows his face and wears a skull mask sometimes.
Oh, okay.
It's less weird than it sounds.
No, I caught that in the intro, but then the rest of it, the rest of the video is basically just showing cartoon or comic book images while he was talking behind it. So I've only recently watched that and maybe one other of his videos. Because it's funny enough, I've never really watched videos related to Transformers or reviews or anything. Just no particular reason why I didn't, but it's now between McFeely and then Skullface, those are kind of the two that seem interesting. But there is the one other one that D pointed out a few months ago.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. If you're talking about a guy that wears a mask and he's talking about pop culture, there's Doomcock there. Doom Van Cock or whatever his name is.
Okay.
I was just looking at that to his face.
I want to spell that out.
Let me see if I can find him. He talked I like Star Wars, right? And he was talking a lot about Star Wars and what was happening and what's going on there between Kathleen Kennedy and the CEO and everybody else, right? There's a battle happening there.
Okay.
So he talks about all the inside stuff, right? So he also talks about other stuff as well too, like Marvel, but he doesn't talk anything about Transformers. If he does talk about Transformers because the movie came out, and he will mention something about it, but otherwise,
right,
that's not his forte.
But it's actually really good. Someone should suggest Chris do a basics on Children of Primus.
He did.
He did a basics on the 13 primes. Yeah. Bobby's Mike out of me. I heart you. Yeah, I feel like I should watch more of this guy's stuff just because D mentions him so much, and I was aware that he existed. I just hadn't really dived into it. Maybe it's more work stuff, to listen to.
Right. Well, it's the one thing we have to. We have you on our team, talented, fair of courage. So it's almost like why watch anyone else, or listen to anyone else, with the exception of just avoid which one is it? Is it the CBJ? Or the one that I mentioned a while ago?
Comic Book Database?
Yeah, CBD?
Yeah.
Yeah, that CBD? Just writes the very bad articles.
Yeah, the people that didn't know that Shattered Glass was a mirror universe and were like, ooh, this story's interesting. It's like the Autobots are evil or something.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's like, okay, so then between yourself, Skullface, and McFeely, it's like you have people who understand the source of what they're writing, created some of their writing and everything, and then you have like these other websites and reviewers where it's like they're literally just making stuff up. And it's like, well, here's a red truck. Let me just make up a story, a big article about it. It could be things that really never have ever happened and things that I imagine. And I'll put the article out there and say it's official.
Yeah.
So this is the guy that I was talking about.
Oof.
Oh gosh.
I feel like we gotta censor that name.
Yeah, what's going on there?
All right. But you know what? If you ever get a chance of listening to this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just scrolling down on it. Yeah, well, then that Doomcock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing this. But if you ever get a chance, listen, like it's really cool if you get a chance. All right. See, look, Anthony, you've been playing with your Transformers. I've been playing with my daughter's toy here.
Yeah. I was just saying, oh, that's cool.
But I don't even know what these things are, to be honest with you. It's like
fidgets. It's like a fidget spinner, but like evolved.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like these little pop things that like all the kids are starting to play with now, right? So I'm like, okay.
I remember the fidget spinner explosion. What year was that? Probably like 2012 or so. And it's like you saw like one or two kids with it, and then every single kid had like 20 different variations of fidget spinners.
Puppets. That's it. Yeah.
Puppets. Okay.
From Fuki Pops, whatever they're called, not to Puppets.
See, that's what happens when your children kind of grow out of certain things. So that's the first I've seen that toy. Whereas like if my children were a bit younger, we'd probably have like 3 or 4 of those around the house.
Yeah, I don't understand this toy.
I'm just let me just share what I've been messing around with here because I just took a photo on my phone. I make the strangest noises while I try to figure this out. There we go.
It's okay. Some people meow at work.
Yeah. So I just got Kingdom Rhinox, and so I just unboxed him and transformed him back and forth. So that's him in the back, and that is Thrilling 30 Rhinox from 2014 in front. So the big question in everybody's minds that I'm just actively trying to figure out as I go is the new guy on top an improvement on the old guy on the bottom? So
that sounds
funny. Yeah. So far, I think so, but like sort of by default, because the big problem with the old one, the Thrilling 30 one that's in front there, is like he's like really messy and panely, and doesn't hold together very well. But the guy in the back actually does hold together a lot nicer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like his mouth, like his teeth, like that's going around versus the Thrilling 30 one.
Yeah. But some people have compared like. That is not actually his rhino jaw. The Thrilling 31, that actually is his rhino jaw. But like the new one like fakes it. Like that just like slurps up into his chest, and his actual rhino jaw is just behind his head.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of apples and oranges because like I said at the start of the stream, the new one's got nicer looking chain guns because they're actually painted. But like the old one actually has a geared gimmick where they spin if you push a button up top, and the new guy doesn't. So it's like a trade-off.
No, I'd rather have this thing spin.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'll probably be a while before I get around to writing these guys up, but like it's something to think of. I want to really break it down and try and compare the two of them. Yeah. The Legends one, they did repaint the Thrilling 30 guy to have colored guns, but he was expensive and not available at retail. And both these guys are guys that I literally got off the shelf at different points in my life, like off the Canadian shelf.
Interesting. I never, you know what? The only, I guess, beastie Transformer that I ever really bought was like the Beast Hunters from Transformer Prime.
Yeah.
I never really bought any of the Beast Wars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these new guys are a good place to get into it. They've all been like decent to great, like, you know.
Mhm.
Like this guy's probably, I don't know, he's probably like, I mean, there's a lot of others I would recommend before him, and I only just unboxed him, so it's kind of hard to say. But you know, even this guy's okay so far.
Right.
I think my favorite's probably still the new purple T-Rex Megatron. They did a real good job on him, but that's a leader class, so that's a big ask. So the ones that I actually give A+s to are Cheetor and Air Razor. I think if you're going to get anything from Kingdom, those are the two to check out.
Really?
Because they're both,
I thought it'd be Optimus Primal would be like the number one to get.
You know, I like Cheetor and Air Razor better. I think they're a bit more solid.
You know what? There's something about Cheetor. I just don't like his face.
You know, it was interesting because I didn't think I was going to be as into him, but once I actually got him in hand and handled him, I liked him a lot better because he transforms like buttery smooth, and he's like really posable, and he has a posable cat mode too, which yeah, like that's how I would describe it, you know.
This is just butter.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you know what? I liked when he did his when they reformatted him. I thought he had a better look, but yeah, you know what? If I had to pick any of the Beast Wars, like the first two that I'll buy off is again it's Primal and Megatron, right?
Yeah. I think
and I like
Megatron turned
Dinobot
out
too.
better. Yeah, he's been pretty strong. Do I have him here?
I'm playing with Constructicons while you guys are playing with other toys.
Yeah.
It was the only one that I got so far.
In fact, I can take this second to plug what's going up tomorrow because I have everything in arm's reach. It's not Dinobot. It's his repaint, Beast Wars Grimlock.
Yeah, we should be wrapping up soon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess we should. Yeah. So yeah, this is going up tomorrow. I've written this review. This is the second of the Amazon 2-packs. You have Beast Wars Grimlock, who's a repaint of Dinobot, and you have the new version of Mirage that's a retool of the Siege one to be in Earth mode instead.
Why the fuck did they put those two together in a box?
I said this. I said the same thing with the other Amazon set, which was Sideswipe and Eagle Skywarp. I think they're just like they're trying to hit like the broadest demographic you can because they have like this guy. You got to be deep in the Beast Wars sauce like I am to like this guy because this is a reference to a specific like mid 90s toy they did, you know, that wasn't on the show or nothing. And then you got like just normal vanilla Mirage that like everybody knows, right? So it's like either you're a G1 fan who wants this and you're just going to go ahead and get this instead. I mean, on top of it, or you're like a Beast Wars guy like me and you really want this, and then this is like a bonus.
See, if I was going to do something like that, like let's just say if I was going to do a box set like that,
yeah,
I'd rather put like a character like Hound in there to give it like, you know, a bit of that Jurassic Park kind of, you know, feeling to it. You know, it makes a little bit of sense, kind of thing, right? But like an F1 Formula vehicle, like were they like? Well, I don't know what they were smoking, but oh well.
Well, it's we were mentioning it last week. It's it's the mindset of how cable companies would sell packages, where you know you've got your core package that you have to buy, but you know, but then see if there's like 3 other specific channels you want to watch, you have to buy 3 other channels. So you now 3 other packages, and in each package there's like 4 channels you don't want. So now you've got like 15 extra channels, but you only really needed 3 extra channels, and you have no choice but to buy all those packages.
So that's why you end up getting the legal box after.
Shush.
There's been plenty.
That's an 80s, 90s reference there.
Yeah.
I've said in both this one that's coming and the one that I already wrote on the Amazon set, it's just been since Titans Return. They just have a history of just making these multi-packs that have a strange, weird combination of characters because it's like they want to try and hit every demographic. But then it mostly means people are going to split the sets up and just try and find pieces of them on the aftermarket.
Or on childrenofprimus.com.
Yes. Speaking of that.
Yes.
Let's give it a plug. Can you show the website, please?
So if you've bought any box sets of characters and there's a character that you don't want, you can
Mirage.
Mirage. No, we want Mirage. You can sell that extra character on childrenofprimus.com. It is free to post and list your characters.
Let me get to the main page here. This was just the first hit. I guess I needed to look this up a bunch of times. There we go. And
Look at that.
here we are.
There we go.
A Primus there.
Mm-hmm. By faction, by like media type, by non-transformers, collectibles, statues and busts, live action, masterpieces, Canada, US,
Canada and the US.
Mm-hmm.
So long overdue 1 week. We will focus on the website.
Mm-hmm. Walk you through how it works.
You can sign up any Transformers you have. Anyone who's found boxes of Transformers in their house that they forgot about or inherited in a sense. In any sometimes unfortunate cases, but in any sense, if they're not sure what to do with them, they can post them on childrenofprimus.com.
Mm-hmm.
Like that guy in Newfoundland that found
Oh yeah,
I had the bot from Optimus Prime
over $600.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And then from here, if you go to news and reviews,
There's Wheeljack.
Yeah, I just had him up there as an example. Yeah, this is where I do my stuff. Soundwave Spy Patrol went up on Friday. This is one of those retro ones I talked about, and then I do new ones every Monday. I'm gonna have the new one tomorrow I was just talking about. And I got pages and pages of opinions here. Old things, new things. I got 20 pages of reviews.
It adds up.
Yeah, it adds up over time. I'm gonna run out of retro ones eventually, but like still got plenty of those in the tank waiting to go.
Question. Statistically, how many Hot Rod reviews have you done?
Oof.
Curious
Okay.
minds would like to know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But now is there 5 per page? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 per page, 20 pages. How many are on the last page? Just 3. Whoa. No, sorry, my mouse is a little bit trigger happy. There's 5 on the last page too. So 5 times 20. That's I'm really bad at math. I'm pulling out my calculator. I can't do math for shit. I'm a creative type. I'm not a math type.
$1,000.
100.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So I have exactly 100 reviews, and tomorrow will be 101.
Yeah, but out of that 100 reviews, how many are those dedicated to Hot Rod?
Less than you'd think. I did a lot on my previous site, and I haven't imported them all over here. But you know what? I let me think. Okay, so I looked at G1 Hot Rod.
37.
I looked at G1 Hot Rod. Oh yeah, you're looking for that Mirage Grimlock review. Had my Amazon set canceled. Deciding whether I should rebuy or not. Well, read it tomorrow. It'll probably go up around 10:30 or so. I actually done the whole thing. I just got to press. Yeah, Eastern time. I just got to press. I would just give it like a once over and then press publish. Just one like a last minute thing.
Then after it's published, then it'll be shared amongst the groups.
I think I only have 3 Hot Rod reviews up there. I have, or is the Legends one up there? 3 new ones, because I looked at the Studio Series one. I looked at the G1 version. I looked at Kingdom Rodimus Prime. I don't know. I'll have to check on that. But I know I've reviewed more, but they might not all be there because I looked at the Cyberverse one. I looked at the old Legends Target Master. I looked at the old Masterpiece. I looked at Hoodlum. I've written 7 or 8, but they might not all be published on our news site. They will all be published eventually, but
Now here's my other question to you: how many Beast War articles you have?
A lot, and I'll tell you, because Kingdom dropped like right near the start of my time here, right? So probably like a large chunk of them.
Cool.
It's amazing. You know what? I have to admit, I have to give you credit because I also write articles as well too.
Yeah.
For my other site that I have called Hockey Needs, right? I'm not doing the shameless plug there, but I just did. And I try to at least write one article a month, and it's tough, man.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to do like 4 articles a week, brand new, and then plus you add on your retro, you know, another 4 times a week. Wow, that's amazing, man. Like I have to give you credit there.
It's a true talent.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
I would be doing this no matter what. It's like exercising it from my head because I just think of the stuff in advance. I just think of the stuff no matter what, and I'm just putting it down as I think about it. So
nice.
This is just, you're looking at this stuff, these articles, and like, this is just what goes on in my brain. Like
one big article.
Yeah.
It just flips. Right?
Yeah.
It's a magazine.
I'm just like shooting it out of my head.
No, but like I said, like I try, like, so my next article that's supposed to be coming out, I've actually did a collaboration with another person from the States, right? And obviously it has to do with hockey, but again, it took me at least a couple of months just to put, like, you know, pen to paper, right? Just to think of something.
It helps.
It's hard. It's like, if you really think, tell me, you know, you can tell me this, Anthony, and you can let everybody else know. You know, you can only write about so much about a figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how many Ronox you can write about, how many Optimus Primes or how many Hot Rods you can write about, and how many times you can compare, right? And it's just amazing that, you know, when I go through all your stuff, it's like it's not really repetitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it's funny because it's funny because I do sort of have like a template at this point that I just mentally go through as I go. But like Transformers themselves are so varied that I rarely wind up following that template to a T, you know?
Oh, maybe you should send me that template over.
I mean, honestly, I could I'd asked for that too. I might take some time and write up like my cheat sheet and then just see what you guys make of that.
Well, I could see the cheat sheet being, you know, who the character is, you know, what storyline that they come from, what idea they created this character, and then you know, a description of like their alt mode, their robot mode, their physical, you know, abilities, their weapons. I mean, in a sense, it's almost like an expanded tech spec. You know, except for going like into like their personalities. Well, actually, or you somewhat do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how I always start when I'm writing stuff, because I'm just like, I just picked a Cyclonus at random. I'm like, who is he? Where did he come from? Are there any previous figures of him that are relevant here? What is the significance of this release?
I actually have that one. I have that.
Yeah.
The other Cyclone that just passed. That
this
one
right
there.
Yeah.
I have that one. Yeah.
He's still good. He's on my Lost Light shelf because, you know, he was a member of the Lost Light. So
he actually he's in a box. Here's the funny part is he's in a box set with Hot Rod as well too.
Yeah. That's the version I got over there, I think.
Yeah.
Well, see that
makes
box
sense.
kind of makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, this is that. It was just like a Transformers the movie team up.
You know, but then, you know, if you had a box set of like a Cyclonus and Jazz, I'm like, okay, no, now that doesn't make sense.
There's the one I'm talking about. Nautica with Parsec, right? She's a Lost Light character and was in huge demand, but they only released her in this set with all of these guys. So I didn't even get this set. Like, I just found her alone on the aftermarket for a bit of a markup because this was such a strange. This was such a strange group of characters. That I'm like, they're all individually interesting, but I don't think anybody wants all these guys. It's Laser Optimus, Nautica, one of the Autobot clones, Quick Switch, you know.
Quick Switch.
Yeah.
That's a Quick Switch needs needs an episode, because that is really a failing character.
Did McFeely do a basics on him? I want to say
He did.
yes. Yeah,
He did, and they were talking about he's like 6-shot son or something like that.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
One commercial did that.
But you see, hold on, Spin, can you go back up again? Go back to that article.
It's me controlling this right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Anthony. Go back to that article.
Yeah.
So go to Laser Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah, and if you blow that up a bit, and kind of like focus on him a little.
Let me just. There we go. It's not a very super clear image, but
so that will literally be Scourge right there.
Yeah.
If they do something similar like this, I'd be happy.
Oh, they did him as Scourge. This is an older guy.
No, but that's Scourge. If you think about it, right? Like the black version of that Laser Optimus Prime is Scourge, right?
Oh, not that
toy
Legend
version
Scourge.
as well too.
The other Legend Scourge. Google. Oh, right.
Yes, Scourge is a legend.
Yeah, right. He's called Black Convoy in Japan. There we go.
Right. So there you go.
That's
See what I'm saying? See, it's similar, right?
Yeah.
So if they did something like this in the movie, I'd be like, you know what? I'd be happy.
That's a blurry image. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they give him like that whole sword and like the rockets on the shoulders and stuff like that, like all the cannons and everything.
Yeah.
I'd be very impressed if they did something like this.
Yeah. But yes. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know about the rest of you. Yeah. I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel the need to sign off for the evening.
Yes, it is getting that time, 11:27 p.m. So we should.
We went over 30 minutes.
Yes, we went over 30 minutes.
Yeah. So on Patreon, you can get this additional 30 minutes that we did.
So TF Collect says, enjoyed today's discussion. Great show, gents. So shout out once again to TF Collect, to Professor D, to Calvin, and to one of the newer viewers this evening, Jason, and Toy Warp Vintage Reviews on YouTube, which we will all go over and sub right after as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this person has their own, like, I'm sorry guys, I came on late. So this person has his own YouTube channel.
Yeah, and it's vintage. That's what I was talking about earlier. I'm like, hey, vintage reviews sounds more interesting than modern stuff in some cases.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great, man. If we can probably do some collaboration with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you never know.
Spread the love.
So, as usual, check out childrenofprimus.com. Post your Transformers and check out the review section Mondays and Fridays for retro reviews and new reviews by Talented Fear or Courage, and all other news and articles throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing like that build that Bill is doing?
I've been working like the entire week like crazy, so I know I know like we've got to start adding like Bill's images on his progress. So hopefully next week or the week after, because I know next week's Halloween, so next week may be one of those shows where some of us are missing and it may just be another freestyle, but we'll see what happens.
All right, gentlemen.
Yes.
Thank you very much for allowing me to join on late. So I apologize. It's work came, and
that's how life goes.
Yep.
You worked hard this weekend.
Yeah. And then hopefully when TFCon comes in December, we'll definitely pop by. Spin and I will pop by and watch your table and do some buying of our own. So do you say no Halloween special next week?
We'll figure out something. We just realized it earlier today, so we will figure out something for next week's show.
Might be ODing on candy.
You know, you get to our ages and it's like, oh yeah, holidays tomorrow. Don't even think about it.
Exactly. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good night. And I guess till all is one.
Till all be one.
Until all is one.
To Obi-Wan.
When all is one and one is all.